period in time.
He was accompanied to the Knesset by Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. Aid trucks have begun rolling into Gaza. UNICEF's Tess Ingram is in Gaza City, where survival has immediate needs.
Water is a priority. Everybody we spoke to yesterday told us about the desperate need for water, particularly here in the north, because water systems have been decimated. And then, of course, winter's around the corner, so we're trying to bring in shelter for families.
CBS News Special Report. I'm Michael Toscano.
WICC 695.9, Connecticut Lottery Voice of Connecticut Local News Update.
The powerful nor'easter that impacted Connecticut yesterday brought heavy rains and damaging winds. The southeastern part of the state was impacted the hardest, with around 1,000 widely scattered power outages reported. Those outages could continue to pop up today as the breezy conditions are expected to continue. There have also been some concerns raised about possible coastal flooding today along the shoreline. The Bridgeport-Port Jefferson ferry was suspended yesterday due to the weather, as well as the Cross Sound ferry. The ferry is expected to resume service at 10 a.m. this morning unless conditions change. Senator Chris Murphy is endorsing Congressman John Larson as he fights to keep his 1st District House seat. Murphy is choosing to endorse Larson over former Hartford Mayor Luke Bronin, who's challenging the longtime congressman for the seat. At the announcement, attended by News 8, Senator Murphy spoke about the need for voices like Larson's in the modern political landscape.
He has always been a very loud voice for democracy, for civil rights, for a fair economy. He is a loud voice both figuratively and literally, and we need loud voices right now.
Murphy says it's hard for him to picture the state delegation without Larson, whom he called a longtime mentor. The 77-year-old Larson was first elected to the seat in 1998 and is seeking his 15th term. New Haven Congresswoman Rosa DeLauro is calling on Republicans to negotiate with her and other Democrats to end the government shutdown. DeLauro says the lack of discussions between the sides is upsetting. She says both sides need to have the political will to get this done, but House Republicans have recessed and have not scheduled a return to Washington. DeLauro says that Democrats will not agree to any deal that does not protect health insurance subsidies.
For anyone who gets their coverage through Access Health, that's about 142,000 residents in Connecticut. Monthly insurance premiums could double. A family of 4 living in Milford, who has an income of $130,000, now pays $921 a month. They're now going to pay $2,800 a month in 2026, an increase of almost $23,000 a year.
No injuries are reported after a single-engine plane crashed in New Milford. The crash was reported Friday night at Candlelight Farms Airport, which is a grass runway off Candlewood Mountain Road. 2 people who were on the plane were able to free themselves and walk to the hangar on their own. Both refused medical treatment. The FAA is investigating the crash. 10 people are displaced following a fire in Bridgeport. The blaze was reported Friday night on Lincoln Avenue between Main Street and Madison Avenue. The 9 adults and 1 child who live in the building were all able to escape without injury. The Red Cross responded to the scene to help the residents who were forced from their homes in finding temporary shelter. For the Voice of Connecticut, WICC, I'm John Kamal.
Right, you are John. John, once again, sponsored this time around by the Connecticut Lottery. Hey, now play your favorite draw games at ctilottery.org. Odds vary by game. Must be 18 or older to purchase. Help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-888-789-7777 or go and visit ccpg.org.
WICC Smart MLS Right Now traffic.
Slow in through Fairfield right now. Just some minor delays on the Connecticut Turnpike. Also building in Stamford. Parkway is in pretty good shape. Speed limit, so far so good there. Fairfield County traffic every 10 minutes on WICC.
Columbus Day will be wet and windy. Coastal flood advisory and wind advisory through this evening. It'll be rainy and windy through this afternoon with a high in the upper 50s to near 60. Rain through midnight or thereafter on the windy side overnight with a low in the low 50s. Tuesday, early showers. Cloudy with a gusty breeze in the afternoon with a high in the mid-60s. I'm meteorologist Paul Piorek on WICC.
It's Duchess Restaurants. It's fresh, made to order, and it's what makes Duchess food so good. Duchess Restaurants has so many choices for breakfast. Bacon, egg, and cheese. On a hard roll, wrap, whole wheat toast, any way you'd like it. Or a big D breakfast with 2 pancakes, 2 eggs, and bacon, ham, or sausage. You can't go wrong with one of Duchess Restaurants' many items, including breakfast platters, sandwiches, muffins, bagels, and more. All of Duchess's menu items are made to order, adding to their fresh flavor. You gotta eat breakfast at Duchess. Go to GoDuchess.com for the one nearest you. Duchess Restaurants. Fresh food served fast.
Who picks Post University? People who pick Post are people who believe in themselves and their potential. Post people want a school that helps them succeed on their terms, on their budget, and on their schedule. They want on-campus activities and online flexibility. Most of all, they want an education that could help prepare them for success in over 50 fields. Because when you're an Eagle, the sky's the limit. Are you a Post person? Find out now at post.edu.
This fall, cozy up to savings at Spectre Furniture and Mattress Gallery in Ansonia. Whether you're refreshing a room or refurnishing your whole home, Spectre Furniture's fall savings event makes it easy and affordable. And if your old couch or mattress has more lumps than your grandma's gravy, it's time for an upgrade. See what they're all about, or ask your neighbor. Spectre Furniture and Mattress Gallery, where tradition meets comfort. Trusted for 135 years. Thank you for shopping local. SpectreFurniture.com.
Hi, this is Leo Carl from Carl Chevrolet in New Canaan. Last year, more consumers switched to Chevrolet than any other automotive brand. Why? With more standard passive and active safety features than any other brand, plus easy-to-use technology like wireless Apple CarPlay, Chevy simply builds in more value. And who doesn't love getting more for their money? With fresh inventory arriving daily, see for yourself at Carl Chevrolet, 261 Elm Street in New Canaan, or online at carlchevy.com.
WICC 695.9, the voice of Connecticut, with all the news you need to start your day. Now on Melissa in the Morning.
Hey there, good morning, good morning, good morning. How is everyone this morning on this Monday morning, the 13th of October, 2025, Columbus Day Monday, right here on WICC 600 AM, 95.9 FM, and of course online at voiceofct.com. Weather forecast for today, Paul Piora calling for another rainy, windy day. Of course, we're still now in the midst of this nor'easter with a high temp right around the 60-degree mark or so. Tonight, showers, windy conditions out there, low 50 to 55, Paul says. And tomorrow on Tuesday, scattered showers and clouds in the low to mid 60s as we get this storm slowly moving away. 52 degrees, right around there, depending upon where you are in the southern Fairfield County, New Haven County area. Good morning to all of you. Again, we do have in the UI area, preliminary our service area here at WICC, but all across the great state of Connecticut, a lot of the states serviced by Eversource, the remainder serviced by UI out of Avangrid checking, and we do have some scattered outages. In fact, let me give you that Eversource number once again. We'll give you a little bit of a fresh refresh here. About 8,000 Eversource customers have been affected here, mainly, obviously, due to the thickly forested parts of the Eversource service area. So Eversource usually, especially when you have windy conditions, you will have situations like that. And as far as UI, once again, we'll refresh that. Yeah, we are seeing a good amount of outages in the city of Milford. So if you are in the dark and in Milford this morning, you are not alone. New Haven seems to be good. Parts of the valley seem to be okay. There are some outages here. About 70 people in Shelton are out. In the town of Orange, about 270 people are out. In the city of Bridgeport, about 100 people. In the town of Fairfield, about 200 people. And let's see what else we can give you here. In Easton, A couple of scattered outages. Milford, however, is reporting a little over 1,000 UI customers are without power. In fact, it's tickling 1,100. 1,079 UI customers are without power. That apparently is coming, according to what UI is telling us this morning, from 4 events. And when they say there's an event, that each individual event could be a utility pole coming down, a main feeder line being affected, a trunk line or whatever. So, yes, a bit over 1,000 people, almost 1,100 people in the city of Milford are out. And other than that, if you're without power, it's a big deal. So I'm not poo-pooing that. Please be careful with candles as well, all right? Be careful with the candle situation. I know a lot of people tend to have, don't use candles. Don't leave them unattended. It can only do, things can only, I know, but it smells so nice. No. Flashlights, please. I have a lantern. I have an now, I'm a customer of Wallingford Electric, thank God. I have an electric lantern, a fluorescent lantern. Nice big green fluorescent lantern. Takes, this thing eats batteries. It's 6 or 8 D-size batteries, right? You pick up them big honking D I mean, that's a battery. I mean, AAAs are nice. AA batteries, those are cute. Oh, man. 9 volts. So how much do we love putting new 9 volts in our smoke detector? Now we have to do it. But I'm just saying, get the stepladder, Maud. It's time to change the 9 volts. But no, for outage situations, and I get them rarely in Wallingford, be that as it may. But I have a fluorescent lantern. I think the reason I got that, I think that goes back to my son's camping days in Boy Scouts and Cub Scouts, which frankly I don't miss in the least bit. Now, having said that, I miss my son at that age. That was a great age. I miss the camaraderie, me and the other dads, and the mom sometimes. At Boy Scout and Cub Scout stuff, it was great. The camping stuff, I've never quite understood. And again, I'm not criticizing you. If you like this, if you think this is fun, good for you. I've never been into sleeping outside. You're sleeping under the stars. Well, that's nice. When I'm in my house, I'm sleeping under the stars. When I look out at the big new 3-pane master bedroom window in my condo that I forked over $1,800 for a little while ago, nice work, very nice work, I can see the stars. And I can see the moon at night. And it's very peaceful to look at. I get it. But it's good knowing that I can have that camping lantern that I don't need anymore. Nothing wrong with camping. Except like one night, we were awoken, I think, 3 or 4 times in 12 hours by a severe thunderstorm or a tornado watch or warning, whatever it was. And there I was with all the dads and the kids sprinting up a half-mile hill, probably barely avoiding a heart attack, if you know me, and getting to the mess hall at the campsite until the all clear was given, until we got it 3 more times that night. So every time, we have a situation now where some people, because of power lines and winds, they tend to lose power. I gaze over longingly at that beautiful fluorescent camping lantern that I have. But it's better than having to use fire in a candle. I'll tell you that much. Traffic and weather again, a lot more coming up at Spaulding for Melissa. Melissa in the morning on WICC.
WICC Smart MLS Right Now traffic.
Slow in through Fairfield right now. Just some minor delays on the Connecticut Turnpike. Also building in Stamford. Parkway is in pretty good shape. Speed limit, so far so good there. Fairfield County traffic every 10 minutes on WICC.
Good morning, everybody. Another windy and wet day on the way. As of early this morning, our wind gusts, the highest wind gusts in the area in miles an hour, in Bridgeport, 47, in Fairfield, 40, in New Haven, 41, and Greenwich, 47. So we've had wind gusts in the neighborhood of 45 to 50 miles an hour. That'll be the theme through the morning. In the rain gauge, as of early this morning, Shelton just about 2 inches, in Greenwich, 1.85, in Danbury, 1.5, Fairfield, just about 1.5 inches. In Greenwich, 1.25 inches. In Shelton, 1.14. So we've had about 1 to 2 inches of rain. Another additional inch through about early tomorrow morning. And yes, it will be windy and wet through the afternoon. We have a wind advisory, wind gusts of 40 to 45 miles an hour through the afternoon. Coastal flood advisory with inundation levels of 1 to 2 feet right along the shoreline through midday and early afternoon as well. High water in Bridgeport, 5 this morning, just about 5 later on this evening. So be aware of that if you live right along the shoreline. That water level may be about a foot or two above normal with that northeast wind pushing the water into Long Island Sound. Right now, we've got a northeast wind at about 25, gusting to 38 in Bridgeport. We have light rain. It is 50 degrees. Our dew point 50. Barometer is 2992 on the way down. And again, that wind gusting out of the northeast. Today, you'll need the umbrella and hang on to your hat. It'll be a windy day with an afternoon high in the upper 50s to near 60. Tonight, the rain through about midnight or thereafter. It'll be on the windy side with a low in the low 50s. Any early showers, and by tomorrow morning, it'll be a gray afternoon. Still a light breeze gusting out of the north in the mid-60s. On Wednesday, sunny with a high in the mid-60s, and the rest of the week looks good under a lot of sun with a high each day at or near 60. Coastal flood advisory, wind gusts of 40 to 45 miles an hour through the afternoon. We have had rain in the rain gauge of 1 to 2 inches, an additional inch through early tomorrow. I'm meteorologist Paul Pioric on WICC.
Back to the news and talk. Thanks to Smart MLS. Smart sellers ask, is my home on Smart MLS? The voice of Connecticut. WICC 695.9. It's Melissa in the morning.
And big thanks to the one and only Paul Pioric. Yes, keep it right here all morning long on the award-winning Melissa in the Morning program. Paul Pacelli in for Melissa. Great to be in here. She'll be back tomorrow and Wednesday and Thursday, and I'll be in for her again on Friday. So Paul will be back with us, of course, every 10 minutes or so, updating the conditions. And again, as far as power is concerned, we do have, according to what I've been reading here, about 1,100 people without power in the city of Milford proper. Don't know whether that's commercial or residential, but, you know, it's probably a good mix there. So be advised of that. If you, and we had kind of a little power glitch here at the station earlier today. Thank God for the backup generator we have, as all radio and TV stations have it. Listen, it's days like this where you need us. But just give you a quick redo on this, a quick refresh situation here with UI and in Milford. And now the number of outages in Milford has climbed a bit. It's up to just under 1,200 in Milford. It was just under 1,100. It was at 1,079 about 10 minutes ago, and we're now at just under 1,200. 1,184 people or customers in Milford with UI. And according to the UI website I'm looking at, that's just a sliver over 4%. The crews obviously on the way out. Now, again, understand something. in a situation like this, if it's, and obviously when we lose power, when you lose power, you are the most important person on earth. And a lot of people, especially if you're older, you may have some refrigerated medications, depending. I don't know. I think insulin and maybe the Ozempics and the Wegovy's, do those have to be refrigerated? I don't know. But yeah, sometimes you can have losses, and I guess insurance covers that. Does homeowners insurance still cover that? I don't know. It's been years and years and years since I've had to worry about that, thankfully. But again, remember that the men and women who service the power lines, who do really, when you think about it, handling these high voltage lines, getting them put back up, is pretty dangerous work. So the winds, I know for a fact, I've been told this by experts I've talked to over the years, in situations where you're going to have repairs, they have to wait until the winds get below a certain miles an hour, because, again, you're going up there with bucket trucks, ladders, bucket trucks, other cables, high voltage lines and wires that may not be affected directly by braking, but you still have to deal with them. De-energizing lines, re-energizing lines. So obviously you don't want to do that in gusty winds. Also, as John has been mentioning in his news all morning here so far on WICC, the Bridgeport Port Jeff Ferry, I believe they say, weather permitting, they'll be back up and running this morning between Bridgeport and Port Jeff at 10 a.m. But again, go online to the ferry there and check and see. You want to jump in here, you are welcome to do so at 203-333-9422, 333-WICC. Got the text screen up and running here, so if there's anything you see that you want to give me a quick text about, you can do that. Once again, 203-333-9422, 333-WICC. Of course, as we'll be getting another update, top of the hour, from CBS Radio on Hamas releasing all 20 remaining living hostages. So a bittersweet day, the remaining living hostages that Hamas took over 2 years ago, largely from that Israeli music festival when they attacked Israel on the 7th of October back in 2023. Only 20 of them are remaining to be alive in various conditions, but they have all been released. Those releases, says here, coming as President Trump was in Israel to celebrate the U.S. brokered ceasefire and hostage deal, an agreement he declared had effectively ended the war, opening the door, he hopes, and a lot of people hope, to build a durable peace in the Middle East. Under the deal, in exchange for the 20 remaining living hostages, Israel will release, says here, more than 1,900 Palestinian prisoners and allow more food and aid supplies into Gaza. Hamas released 13 remaining living hostages today, Monday. 7 of them were released earlier today. 13 others released later today. Of course, that part of the world is 5 or 6 hours ahead of us. So the 20 releases were all men, 7 in one initial release, 13 others. They're all being reunited with their families and, of course, expected to undergo medical checks. And one would think years of obviously psychological and psychiatric help, although as we've found out over the years, the degree to which former hostages cope with life and cope with talking and living with what they went through obviously varies from person to person. Now, in the sad part here, the bodies of the 28 remaining hostages, all dead, are expected to be handed over as part of the deal, although the exact timing of that remains unclear. And according to what I was reading and listening to late yesterday and early this morning, Hamas is not completely aware of the location possibly of all those hostages that have passed away. So that's something that's going to have to be cleared up as well. So again, we'll update that for you in a couple of minutes along with traffic and weather together right here on a Monday, Columbus Day, Monday 2025. It's Paul and for Melissa. Melissa in the morning right here for you on WICC.
WICC Smart MLS Right Now traffic.
Still in relatively good shape this morning, just volume between Bridgeport and Westport on the Connecticut Turnpike, and that volume is just below speed limit, and some car activity too in Stamford. Parkway is a clear shot right now from New Haven into the New York State line, sponsored by RD Cinto. It's time to move your office to an RD Cinto property, and you'll avoid all this traffic. Learn more at Cinto.com. You deserve it. Fairfield County traffic every 10 minutes on WICC.
A wind advisory and coastal flood watch in effect through this evening. It'll be a rainy and windy day through early this afternoon with a high in the upper 50s to near 60.
For over a century, Abriola Parkview Funeral Home in Trumbull has been a beacon of support and compassion for families navigating the profound challenges of grief and loss. Family owned since 1906, we are dedicated to helping you honor your loved ones with dignity and respect. Trust our experienced team to guide you through this difficult time, allowing you to celebrate a life well lived. Abriola.com, your legacy, our commitment.
Hey, it's Steve Basso from Steve Basso Plumbing, Heating, and AC again. There's no better time than right now to service or repair that AC system. Even install new or replace your existing system. Did you know high-efficiency ductless systems use up to 50% less electricity? Call us today at 203-335-0224. That's 203-335-0224. On the web at bassophac.com. And remember, everything's better with Basso.
Recently, 1 in 4 people surveyed by Bankrate.com say they're literally losing sleep because of worries that they might not have saved enough to retire. Pretty much adds up because the number one fear planning for retirement is running out of money. So if you're ready to get serious about planning for your future, you could start by listening to Mastering Your Wealth with host David Gagnon of First Financial Planners. Tune in Saturday mornings at 8 right here on WICC 600. Also get more details online at masteringyourwealthradio.com.
I'm still going for it, even with higher stroke risk from atrial fibrillation and a regular heartbeat not caused by a heart valve problem. Over a 3-year study, Eliquis apixaban tablets reduce stroke risk better than warfarin, and over 97% of Eliquis patients did not experience a stroke. A first stroke occurred in 2.9% of warfarin patients versus 2.3% of Eliquis patients.
Don't stop prescription Eliquis without asking your doctor. Stroke risk may increase. Eliquis can cause serious and potentially fatal bleeding. Don't take if you have an artificial heart valve, abnormal bleeding, or antiphospholipid syndrome. While taking, you may bruise more easily or bleed longer. A spinal injection increases blood clot risk, which may cause paralysis. Get medical help right away for unexpected bleeding or bruising, or back pain, tingling, numbness, muscle weakness, or incontinence. Aspirin products, NSAIDs, SSRIs, SNRIs, and blood thinners increase bleeding risk. Tell your doctor about planned medical or dental procedures. Learn more at Eliquis.com or call 1-855-ELIQUIS.
Live and local news all day. WICC 695.9, the voice of Connecticut. WICC Bridgeport, WFOX Southport, WEBE HD2 Westport, WPLR HD2 New Haven, locally owned by Connoisseur Media.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by Progressive Insurance.
I'm Deborah Rodriguez. Elation in Tel Aviv's Hostages Square this morning after all 20 remaining hostages still alive were driven from Gaza to Israel and reunited with their families before being taken to hospitals for medical checks. A caravan of vehicles carrying hundreds of Palestinian prisoners has arrived in the West Bank city of Ramallah. President Trump about to speak at Israel's Knesset in Jerusalem.
The president was welcomed with a standing ovation. The Speaker of Knesset delivered him high praise.
Thousands of years from now, Mr. President, the Jewish people will remember you.
And Prime Minister Netanyahu continued the compliments for his peace plan.
You are committed to this peace. I am committed to this peace. And together, Mr. President, we will achieve this peace.
Mr. Trump is next, where he will call today a, quote, historic dawn of a new Middle East. Stacey Lynn, CBS News, Washington.
After all of that, CBS's Deborah Patta at Hostages Square in Tel Aviv.
The sticking point still, Hamas disarmament in Gaza. Who's going to run a post-war Gaza? We know that there's going to be a temporary governing body that's stipulated in the peace deal. President Trump will be chairing that together with other international groups. And then there's the rebuilding of Gaza. All these issues have to still be negotiated.
Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu says President Trump invited him, but he will not attend today's summit in Egypt because of the impending Jewish holiday. Here in the U.S., it's day 13 of the government shutdown. CBS's Bradley Blackburn says some federal workers are getting paid.
For now, the Pentagon is still paying service members, bridging the gap by using $8 billion in unused research funds to cover this week's paychecks. Air traffic controllers will get their first partial paycheck this week, and then nothing if the shutdown continues.
A helicopter came crashing to the ground near a hotel in Huntington Beach, California over the weekend. CBS's Andres Gutierrez.
The palm trees prevented a direct collision between the helicopter and a pedestrian bridge connecting the hotel and the Pacific Coast Highway.
I thought that thing was going to land. I didn't even have a chance to look up. I was dodging through the parking lot.
5 people were hurt, including a child who was pinned underneath the chopper. Bystanders raced to the wreckage to free him. This year's Nobel Memorial Prize in Economics has been awarded to 3 men, one of them from Brown University, one from Northwestern. They used math to explain how technology drives growth. Dow futures are up 405. This is CBS News.
Sponsored by Progressive. See why over 43 million drivers trust Progressive to stay protected on the road. See for yourself at Progressive.com.
So my mother is thinking of switching from Verizon to Pure Talk, but she's worried the deal sounds too good to be true. Michael, she said, how can those Pure Talk people offer me the same basic service as Verizon for so much less money? I said, Ma, go ask Google how much Verizon spends on advertising and promotions. A few seconds later, my mother said, oh my goodness, $12 billion a year? That must be a typo. I'll tell you what I told my mom. It's not a typo. Verizon spends $12 billion a year on advertising and promotions, and their customers are paying for it. Well, Pure Talk doesn't spend that kind of money on commercials. Trust me, I would know. That's why they can offer you and my mother unlimited talk, text, and plenty of data on a crazy fast 5G network for just $25 a month. And if you're a business owner, you could really save a fortune. Dial pound 250, say the words Mike Rowe, and you'll get an additional 50% off your first month. That's pound 250 Mike Rowe. Pure Talk. Everything you need and nothing you don't.
WICC 695.9. Connecticut Lottery Voice of Connecticut Local News Update.
The powerful nor'easter that impacted Connecticut yesterday brought heavy rains and damaging winds. The southeastern part of the state was impacted the hardest, with around 1,000 widely scattered power outages reported. Those outages could continue to pop up today as the breezy conditions are expected to continue. There have also been some concerns raised about possible coastal flooding today along the shoreline. The Bridgeport-Port Jefferson ferry was suspended yesterday due to the weather, as well as the Cross Sound ferry. The ferry is expected to resume service at 10 a.m. this morning unless conditions change. As the shutdown continues, multiple Connecticut nonprofits are making sure that furloughed federal employees have the resources they need to feed their families and even feed their pets. The Connecticut Humane Society is encouraging federal employees to make use of the pet food pantry to make sure that even their furry family members have enough to eat. NBC spoke with James Bias from the Humane Society.
You know, our pets during uncertain times become an emotional life preserver for us. And the last thing we need to worry about is just food insecurity for our pets.
The Humane Society is encouraging anyone who can to donate to their pet food pantry. And anyone who is interested in using those services will have to fill out a short application online. For the Voice of Connecticut, WICC, I'm John Kamal.
Okay, right you are, John. And John this time around is brought to you by M.J. Thomas Jewelers. Hey, looking to buy or sell gold? Visit M.J. Thomas Jewelers in Stratford for expert service and great deals. Their knowledgeable staff is there to assist with all your gold needs. For more info, check them out, mjthomas.com.
WICC Smart MLS Right Now traffic.
We're below the speed limit now, southbound on the Turnpike from Fairfield into Westport. A little slow in Stamford at this moment. Parkway still looks pretty good. Fairfield County traffic every 10 minutes on WICC.
A wind advisory and coastal flood watch in effect through this evening. It'll be a rainy and windy day through early this afternoon with a high in the upper 50s to near 60. Rain ending after midnight with an overnight low in the mid 50s. It will be on the windy side. Tomorrow, a few scattered showers in the morning. Cloudy with a high in the mid 60s. Still a gusty breeze out of the north. I'm meteorologist Paul Piorek on WICC.
Selling your home is a numbers game. The more potential buyers who see it, the greater the opportunity to sell. And when your home is listed on Smart MLS, more than 21,000 realtors see it, and so do all their buyers. Suddenly, the number of people looking at your home starts to grow by a lot. More realtors sharing your listing. More people seeing your home, more offers coming in, and maybe more cash in your pocket. Smart move, right? Ask your realtor, is my house on Smart MLS? Smart MLS, the smart way to sell your home.
Hey, it's Melissa Sheketoff from Melissa in the Morning on the Voice of Connecticut, and I'd love for you to join me November 6th at UConn Stamford for the Reputation Made event. Discover how shifting news cycles, influencers, and the demand for authenticity are reshaping how brands and leaders earn attention today. You'll hear from inspiring business leaders like Stu Leonard Jr., meet one-on-one with state leaders, and connect with some of the brightest minds in our state. Get your tickets now at connecticut-made.com. Join us and be part of what gets made.
It sounds like
It goes
it's like a whistle?
No matter what noise your car is making, call Fairfield Moto Works, 203-333-1800. Specializing in Audi, BMW, Mercedes, and domestics, it's honest, reliable repairs at low prices. For the mechanic you can trust, call Fairfield Moto Works, 203-333-1800. So when your car goes ping or swoosh, call 203-333-1800. Fairfield Moto Works in Fairfield off exit 25. They keep you going. Fairfield Moto Works.
Did you know tens of thousands of mothers, fathers, children, and seniors right here in Southern Connecticut face food insecurity? Moms going without so they can feed their children? That's why the Bridgeport Rescue Mission is relaunching their mobile kitchen so they can deliver fresh hot meals directly into our streets and communities that need it most. Please help the relaunch of the Bridgeport Rescue Mission's mobile kitchens. Give today to bridgeportrescuemission.org because no child, no senior, no human should ever go hungry.
This is where Greenwich starts the day. Melissa in the Morning on WICC 600 and 95.9, the voice of Connecticut.
Yes, good morning. It's Paul and for Melissa. Paul Pacelli in for Melissa on this Columbus Day Monday, October 13th, 2025. Gusty wind still out there, so be careful. It is a Columbus Day 2025, and joining me right now is a gentleman that I've welcomed on the afternoon show. My afternoon show, Monday through Fridays, 2 to 6 right here on WICC. Andre Domino is the guest. He heads the Italian-American One Voice Coalition. Andre, it's Paul here. Good morning, Andre, and happy Columbus Day. How are you, sir?
Good morning, Paul. Yes, happy Columbus Day to you, too.
And tell the morning audience, Andre, that might not be familiar with you and your organization, what is the goal, what is the stated purpose of the Italian-American One Voice Coalition?
Oh, yeah, thanks, Paul. Well, yeah, we're a nationwide organization that we're solely dedicated to defending Italian-American heritage and culture. You know, unfortunately, there's still a lot of stereotyping that goes on about Italian-Americans. And as you know, that there's attacks on our iconic symbol, Columbus. So today is a big day for us, and very pleased to be on with you on this important day.
And you must have been happy with what came out of the White House the other day, Mr. Trump signing a proclamation saying that as far as he was concerned, it is Columbus Day again.
Yeah, that was a great thing that we heard from the president. And, you know, to make it so crystal clear, unfortunately, last year or years before, Joe Biden had said this, that it was also Indigenous Peoples Day, which a lot of states and cities have also said. We've got nothing against Indigenous people, but they actually deserve their own day. Don't divide people. Try to unify us. And actually, Paul, to that end, I'll give you some news. we actually formed an alliance with the Native American Guardians Association, which is an organization that defends Native Americans, and they join with us in saying, leave Columbus Day alone, and let's celebrate Native Americans on another day. And, October is Italian American Heritage Month, and November is Native American Heritage Month, so we're actually united even on the calendar.
Andre, for people that may not know, and I was chatting about this yesterday, I got to be the honorary Grand Marshal of the Bridgeport Columbus Day parade yesterday, which was wonderful. We had a great turnout. The rain held off. But I was chatting about this point, Andre, that you always bring up with people yesterday about the origins of Columbus Day. Explain to people, because a lot of people don't understand, Andre, no matter how they feel about Columbus, why the federal government has a Columbus Day.
Well, it's actually a very interesting history and born out from the immigrant experience of Italian Americans. The largest single-day lynching that ever occurred in this country was of 11 innocent Italian Americans, which happened in New Orleans on March 14th, 1891. And there was such an uproar over this that it almost brought the United States and Italy into war. And that's why on the 400th anniversary of Columbus' arrival in the New World, then President Harrison declared the first Columbus Day, October 12th, 1892, and had a massive parade in New York. And that was like an atonement or an apology to Italians and Italian Americans. So it goes all the way back to that history. And then, of course, later on, it was made into a federal holiday, and which it still is. It still is a federal holiday. And that's why it's so important to us. Our ancestors and generations before us, this was really the welcoming of Italians to this part of the world. Before that, there was a lot of discrimination, denigration, mistreatment. And as I said, not only the 11 people lynched in New Orleans, but other lynchings that occurred. So it's got a lot of historic. Now, of course, Columbus united the continents, which was a massive achievement at the time. So if it wasn't for Columbus, this part of the world would not have the Western culture that we have now. So it's important not only for Italian Americans, but actually for all Americans.
Andre, respond to some of the people out there who I'm sure may be listening to us now saying, okay, yeah, but we hear allegedly of things he did back 400 or 500 years ago. We should not be honoring a guy like Columbus. I'm glad there's Indigenous Peoples Day. What would be your response to those folks?
Well, unfortunately, they're the puppets of a self-declared anarchist and Marxist that hated this country, Howard Zinn. In 1980, he published a textbook of American history, starting, of course, with Columbus, where he falsified a lot of facts about Columbus and also our founding fathers. And unfortunately, his book is still used in schools, and we've had now generations that have been brainwashed with these falsehoods. These have all been disproven by noted authors and scholars, especially someone like Rafael Ortiz, who's a person of indigenous heritage himself, who's written 4 books defending Columbus against what Howard Zinn says. So don't fall for the falsehoods that are out there. What they said about Columbus is just not true. Of course, there were indignities and bad things that occurred after Columbus when other explorers and so forth came here. But this was not the land of the Garden of Eden. The indigenous people were tough people. But we can't compare people from 500 years ago to what's being done today. But nevertheless, it's false what they say about Columbus.
And finally, Andre, I know every time we've spoken during the afternoon show here, you've updated me and my listeners regarding various court cases, legal actions that your group has been taken or become part of with amicus briefs and all that. So what are some of the things legally that are going on connected to Columbus Day and Italian pride around the country?
Well, the one which you and I have spoken about a couple of times was the first federal lawsuit that we actually brought against West Orange, New Jersey, for taking down the Columbus Monument back in 2020 when there was all that crazy stuff going on with all the statues being torn down around the country. And we filed the first federal lawsuit, which is really a milestone lawsuit. And would you believe, Paul, that is still pending in federal court? Yeah, and we've beaten back so many things. They tried to have it dismissed. We stopped that. They tried to say we didn't have standing. We achieved standing, which is very important. So we're hoping that this goes through. If it doesn't go through, We'll keep it going all the way to the Supreme Court. And there's been other cases that have been in Philadelphia and Baltimore and other places where suits have occurred after our initial milestone suit. So, we haven't won the war yet, but we're winning battles.
All right. The website, folks, if you want to go to it, it's IAOVC, the Italian American One Voice Coalition, IAOVC.org. Again, that is .org. Andre, good to speak with you. We chat at least once a year. Andre Domino. Andre, take care. Thanks again, and stay in touch, okay?
Great to be on with you, Paul. Happy Columbus Day.
And you as well. Thanks. Andre Domino, the Italian-American One Voice Coalition. Check it out, IAOVC.org.
WICC Smart MLS Right Now traffic.
We're below the speed limit now, southbound on the Turnpike, Fairfield into Westport. A little slow in Stamford at this moment. Parkway still looks pretty good. Fairfield County traffic every 10 minutes on WICC.
Good morning. The weather, well, not so good. Windy and wet through the afternoon. We have a wind advisory, coastal flood advisory through this evening. In the rain gauge, since yesterday, we have had nearly 2 inches in Shelton, 1.94. In Greenwich, 1.85. In Danbury, 1.5 inches. Fairfield, just about 1.5 inches. In Greenwich, 1.23, and then Shelton just over 1 at 1.14. And the wind gusts over the last day, peak wind gust in miles an hour in Bridgeport, 47. In Greenwich, 47. Fairfield, 40. In New Haven, 41. Now, along the shoreline early this morning and later on this afternoon, the water levels may be about a foot or two above normal with that northeast wind pushing the water into Long Island Sound. Be aware of that through this evening and early tonight. Right now, we've got a reading of 51 degrees in Bridgeport, our dew point 50, humidity just about 100%. Our barometer is 2992 on the way down. We do have a northeast wind right now, gusting at 38 in Bridgeport, and there will be wind gusts in the neighborhood of 40 to 45 miles an hour through this afternoon. We've got the rain on and off through the day, very windy as well. Peak wind gusts in the neighborhood of 45 later this afternoon with a high in the upper 50s to near 60. More rain and wind this evening and overnight. Will be in the upper 40s to lower 50s by daybreak. Tomorrow, any early showers end. Cloudy, still on the windy side in the afternoon with a high in the mid-60s, and then much better weather moving in by midweek. On Wednesday, sunny with a high in the middle 60s. On Thursday, sunny with a high near 60, and Friday, a lot of the sun with a high at or near 60. The weekend looks good. Right now, we are windy and wet. It'll be that way through the afternoon. Coastal flood advisory and a wind advisory through this evening. I'm meteorologist Paul Piorek on WICC.
The kids have their costumes, but they can't wait for Halloween or for all that candy. So don't. Join WICC and Goodwill of Western and North Connecticut for Trick or Treat Day, Saturday, October 18th at Sacred Heart University's Discovery Science Center and Planetarium in Bridgeport. Come dressed up for activities, live performances, character meet and greets, and of course, candy. Limited tickets available now at voiceofct.com. The news you need all morning. WICC's 600 and 95.9. The Voice of Connecticut. And Melissa in the Morning.
Hey there, it is Paul, and for Melissa on the Melissa in the Morning program. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Coming up to 7:20. I always have to pause a little bit when I give the time here because as old as I am, that whole clock thing, the big hand, the small hand thing, I don't know. Maybe I need some remedial training. No, I'm just kidding. 7:20, 20 after 7. You want to jump in here, talk or text 203-333-9422, 333 WICC. Lots of rain, lots of wind out there for the majority of today into tonight. Paul Piorek says the high eventually today getting a little more mild with the back end of this storm around 60s. 51 right now, and again, about 1,200 people, customers, whatever, domestic or residential or commercial, without power in the city of Milford. And one of our staff members came in here, said they could see the crews out there already trying to get the power back. So if you are in the slight darkness or in a chill, the crews of UI are out there trying to fix it. Before we get to our pal John Kamal in the newsroom with an in-depth report he's doing about the homeless situation in Connecticut. Bill's in Bridgeport on the phones this morning. Bill, good morning, sir, and how are you?
Good morning. Did you get your necklace
I
yesterday?
did. I got my necklace, Bill. Thank you, folks. Bill.
Key ring that matches?
Huh?
You like the little key ring that matches it?
I saw that, Bill. It's on my desk at home now. Very nice. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
I gave Swim Across the Sound 15 different necklaces.
Nice.
All with the pin combination for an auction. They're going to be having a little to-do coming up soon.
Oh, nice. Now, Bill, why don't you explain to the listeners what you gifted me yesterday, just so they know they could visualize it.
I'm
Talk
a Native
about
American, and I made him a necklace the way my people made it for years before the Chinese started making them.
Well, Bill, listen, if that brings me...
November, we do not celebrate anything in November. Our holidays are not in November. Our holidays are at the end of August and beginning of September.
Got it, okay.
We don't celebrate Thanksgiving. It was not about us, the Pilgrims.
Yeah.
Thanksgiving started back in 1867 with a woman went to Congress and the Senate.
Yes.
And asked for a holiday, being thankful for all that came home alive from the Civil War.
Yes.
Had nothing to do with us, the Pilgrims.
I've read that.
And
Absolutely.
then they gave us Columbus Day. We never wanted it. We fought that in Bridgeport.
I know.
And we won.
Yeah.
Dr. Breezy, he was down there. They wouldn't let me get there to speak. He said, "You don't speak. I know you."
Yeah, I know, John. Yeah. I haven't seen John for years. Hey, Bill, thank you so much, my friend.
In a while either.
Yeah, I got to find out where he is. Hey, Bill, thanks. I really appreciate it, sir. Thank you. Take care.
I got some from Melissa. I got to send up to
All
the
right.
station.
Yeah, drop them off here. Bill, thank you. Appreciate it. Yes, Bill made me a very nice Native American necklace, which is home now. He dropped it off with the parade people yesterday, and now it's home on my desk in my bedroom. Bill, thank you so much. Appreciate that. Pretty sharp, too. Nice necklace, little necklace with a little attachment there, kind of a pendant thing there, but it's the best I can describe it. I'm lost for words. This morning at 7:23. Now, we often have to have words about the homeless situation here in Connecticut. What's being done to help the people who are homeless or just don't have a regular place to go for whatever reason. Is it addiction? Is it a financial situation? What about funding for that? And we take a look at that right now with our own John Kamal right here on WICC.
Connecticut's housing crisis continues, and while a previously vetoed housing bill is due to be revisited in a special legislative session next month, last week state officials announced new funding to combat homelessness statewide starting now.
I'm extremely proud to announce that the Connecticut Department of Housing is awarding $4.5 million in state funding to support cold weather emergency shelter services. According to our partners, this isn't just an investment. This is a lifeline.
That was Deputy Housing Commissioner Julian Pierce announcing part of a total $8 million investment that the state will be making into support and services for those who are unhoused. In the past year, Connecticut has seen homelessness rise by 45%, a reflection of both a difficult housing market and the rising cost of living nationwide. But with the new funds, legislators are hoping that current services can be expanded. In addition to the $4.5 million to cold weather services, the state is also granting $3.5 million to homeless hubs, which serve as a way for those struggling to connect with services and resources that can help. State Representative Kadeem Roberts of Norwalk made the point that this additional funding doesn't just help those seeking services, but also those who work there.
Do you guys understand, and I need everyone to understand, some of the people that work for these organizations don't have enough money to provide for their families, so they become homeless. So if we're not funding and helping these people, we're not being a solution to the cause.
In the midst of the government shutdown and the federal government's more hostile attitude toward combating homelessness, this show of support for Connecticut's homeless population could not come at a better time. Multiple state officials, including State Senator Derek Slapp, had harsh words for the Trump administration's handling of the crisis.
We cannot have children who are going without food because of what the federal government is doing. So Connecticut, we're going to have to step up, continue to step up.
That criticism was echoed by Governor Lamont, who remarked on how the proposed health care cuts and lack of funding for social services will only exacerbate the problem.
Claimed they were going to be cutting waste, fraud, and abuse. That's not what they're doing. This whole shutdown thing is a battle about how much you're going to jack up people's health insurance costs. Our SNAP benefits that provide food for people who otherwise may not have enough to eat, that runs through the end of this month if the feds can't make a deal.
With a special legislative session starting soon, more will hopefully be done to combat Connecticut's housing crisis and rising homeless population. But in the meantime, the additional funds will be essential in protecting those who are unhoused as the weather grows colder. For the Voice of Connecticut, WICC, I'm John Kamal.
Right, you are, John. We've got more coming up with John throughout the morning news, top and bottom of every hour. Right here, anything you'd like to chime in on, open phones. It's Paul and for Melissa. Melissa in the morning at 203-333-9422, 333-WICC.
WICC Smart MLS Right Now Traffic.
Pretty good ride now on both the Turnpike and the Parkway Route 825-8 connector. No problems reported this morning. At this moment, Fairfield County traffic every 10 minutes on WICC.
Columbus Day will be wet and windy. Coastal flood advisory and wind advisory through this evening. It'll be rainy and windy through this afternoon with a high in the upper 50s to near 60. Rain through midnight or thereafter on the windy side overnight with a low in the low 50s. Tuesday, early showers. Cloudy with a gusty breeze in the afternoon with a high in the mid-60s. I'm meteorologist Paul Piorek on WICC.
Most people want to spend their retirement years at home, but most seniors are not equipped to do it. In fact, according to AARP, 82% of adults ages 50 and up want to remain in their current homes as they age, but only about 10% of U.S. homes are considered aging ready. Hey, Melissa Sheketoff here, and I'm so grateful my grandmother lived with us for more than 20 years. And as she got older, my parents equipped their home in Fairfield to accommodate her needs, and they got in-home care, like Connecticut In-Home Assistance. I believe in-home care made my grandmother's final years comfortable, joyful, and actually made her feel more independent. It also helped my parents to have peace of mind that someone could get her to her appointments, make sure she didn't fall, and allow them to have a loving relationship with her instead of one filled with tension and resentment. Don't wait until it's too late to make your home ready for an aging parent. Get the help you need to keep your loved one at home safe and sound. Check out Connecticut In-Home Assistance at cthomecare.com. And right now, you can even download their free ebook online. Again, cthomecare.com.
Stay heart healthy with the City of Bridgeport Department of Public Health BPT Heart Program. Wednesdays, 10 a.m. till 2 p.m. at the Eastside Farmers Market, 752 East Main Street, Bridgeport through October 15th for free blood pressure screenings, limited $5 coupons, and free digital monitors for qualifying participants.
No part of your home is more important than the roof over your head. Hi, I'm Eddie Griffin, the owner of Brown Roofing, your local expert for roof replacement and roof repair. Water resistant, weather resistant, wind resistant, our products offer superior protection that come with a 50-year lifetime transferable warranty. Call us today at 475-445-1195 or visit us at brownroofing600.com. Brown won't let you down.
Get ready to tackle your hunger with Duchess Restaurants, where fresh food meets football. Catch the NFL games of the week every Sunday on the Voice of Connecticut. Duchess Restaurants. Fresh food served fast, because even your appetite deserves a touchdown.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Hi, I'm Chuck McDowell, the timeshare cancellation guy. In 2011, I founded Wesley Financial Group with one goal in mind: to help honest folks out of their timeshares permanently. Today, I run Wesley with my two sons, a real family business, treating every client and every employee like we'd want our own family treated. That philosophy has helped us grow into the largest, most trusted timeshare cancellation company in the United States. Fortune magazine even recognized us as one of the best places to work. Why? Because we genuinely care. In fact, some of our former clients were so moved by their experience working with us, they joined our team so they could help others to timeshare freedom. If you're stuck in a timeshare, give us a call. Let our family help your family.
Call Wesley now for your free timeshare exit kit. 800-549-8866. 800-549-8866. 800-549-8866.
You're listening to WICC 600 and 95.9, the Voice of Connecticut, broadcasting from the Town Fair Tire Studios. Nobody beats Town Fair Tire.
This is WICC 695.9, the Voice of Connecticut.
CBS News special report at the Israeli Knesset. President Trump arriving to speak there momentarily shortly after our news partner, the BBC, reported all 20 living Hamas hostages have now been released. Earlier, the president said on Air Force One,
"You know, a great deal is a deal where everybody's happy. In every country, they're dancing in the streets. That's a great deal. It's a unique period in time."
He was accompanied to the Knesset by Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. Aid trucks have begun rolling into Gaza. UNICEF's Tess Ingram is in Gaza City, where survival has immediate needs.
Water is a priority. Everybody we spoke to yesterday told us about the desperate need for water, particularly here in the north, because water systems have been decimated. And then, of course, winter's around the corner, so we're trying to bring in shelter for families.
CBS News Special Report. I'm Michael Toscano.
WICC 695.9, Connecticut Lottery Voice of Connecticut Local News Update.
The powerful nor'easter that impacted Connecticut yesterday brought heavy rains and damaging winds. The southeastern part of the state was impacted the hardest, with around 1,000 widely scattered power outages reported. Those outages could continue to pop up today as the breezy conditions are expected to continue. There have also been some concerns raised about possible coastal flooding today along the shoreline. The Bridgeport-Port Jefferson ferry was suspended yesterday due to the weather, as well as the Cross Sound ferry. The ferry is expected to resume service at 10 a.m. this morning unless conditions change. Senator Chris Murphy is endorsing Congressman John Larson as he fights to keep his 1st District House seat. Murphy is choosing to endorse Larson over former Hartford Mayor Luke Bronin, who's challenging the longtime congressman for the seat. At the announcement, attended by News 8, Senator Murphy spoke about the need for voices like Larson's in the modern political landscape.
He has always been a very loud voice for democracy, for civil rights, for a fair economy. He is a loud voice both figuratively and literally, and we need loud voices right now.
Murphy says it's hard for him to picture the state delegation without Larson, whom he called a longtime mentor. The 77-year-old Larson was first elected to the seat in 1998 and is seeking his 15th term. New Haven Congresswoman Rosa DeLauro is calling on Republicans to negotiate with her and other Democrats to end the government shutdown. DeLauro says the lack of discussions between the sides is upsetting. She says both sides need to have the political will to get this done, but House Republicans have recessed and have not scheduled a return to Washington. DeLauro says that Democrats will not agree to any deal that does not protect health insurance subsidies.
For anyone who gets their coverage through Access Health, that's about 142,000 residents in Connecticut. Monthly insurance premiums could double. A family of 4 living in Milford, who has an income of $130,000, now pays $921 a month. They're now going to pay $2,800 a month in 2026, an increase of almost $23,000 a year.
No injuries are reported after a single-engine plane crashed in New Milford. The crash was reported Friday night at Candlelight Farms Airport, which is a grass runway off Candlewood Mountain Road. 2 people who were on the plane were able to free themselves and walk to the hangar on their own. Both refused medical treatment. The FAA is investigating the crash. 10 people are displaced following a fire in Bridgeport. The blaze was reported Friday night on Lincoln Avenue between Main Street and Madison Avenue. The 9 adults and 1 child who live in the building were all able to escape without injury. The Red Cross responded to the scene to help the residents who were forced from their homes in finding temporary shelter. For the Voice of Connecticut, WICC, I'm John Kamal.
Right, you are John. John, this time round, brought to you by Courtesy Carpet Flooring Design Center. Now is the time for a fresh new look for your home. Save on top flooring brands at Courtesy Carpet. No big box gimmicks, just fair, honest prices. Check them out. Courtesy Carpet, Route 111 in Monroe.
WICC Smart MLS Right Now traffic.
Some delays now southbound between Fairfield and Westport 17 on the Turnpike. Not really any kind of big deal, just more volume. That's pretty much it. Parkway delay free at this moment. Fairfield County traffic every 10 minutes on WICC.
A wind advisory and coastal flood watch in effect through this evening. It'll be a rainy and windy day through early this afternoon with a high in the upper 50s to near 60. Rain ending after midnight with an overnight low in the mid 50s. It will be on the windy side. Tomorrow, a few scattered showers in the morning, cloudy with a high in the mid-60s, still a gusty breeze out of the north. I'm meteorologist Paul Piorek on WICC.
This year's Farmer's Almanac warns of a harsh, super snowy winter. So take control of the wet, snowy, and icy conditions with a new set of Bridgestone winter tires from Town Fair Tire at the guaranteed lowest price. Plus, Town Fair gives you the most free services for life with your purchase of Bridgestone winter tires. For the guaranteed lowest price on Bridgestone winter tires, nobody beats Town Fair Tire. Nobody.
Name brands at discount prices. Town Fair Tire.
Hi, this is David from Standard Oil. If you use propane to heat your home, now is the right time to sign up for automatic delivery and our award-winning service. We deliver propane for heating your home, propane for your cooktop, propane for your pool heater, and propane for your generator. We can even install a new propane fireplace in time for the holiday festivities. Most importantly, our technicians work 24/7 to provide you with the absolute best service possible. So for all your heating oil, air conditioning, and propane needs, call Standard Oil today or visit us online at standardoil.com.
Tune in to Melissa in the Morning this Monday at 9:10 to see what's new at SHU. The next interview is with Mark Knopfrey, head football coach at Sacred Heart University. He'll talk about what makes the Sacred Heart football experience so great, how the transition to the CAA is going, and the standout players this year. All at 9:10 on Melissa in the Morning.
Sacred Heart University was just ranked top 10 in the nation for student support by the Princeton Review. Find out what that means for students and families. Go to sacredheart.edu to learn more.
Sometimes the most important personal breakthroughs are made possible by medical ones. And that's why Yale New Haven Health's Heart and Vascular Center delivers the pioneering science of Yale School of Medicine, like groundbreaking research that helped redefine the international guidelines for treating heart failure, and a new procedure to detect coronary microvascular disease, often misdiagnosed in women. Yale New Haven Health and Yale School of Medicine. Together, we're powering breakthroughs with the greatest of care.
This is your retirement wake-up call. Most people will have 4 to 6 major financial storms during their life. Are you prepared? Are you going to be ready? Take the quiz now at rocksolidretirementquiz.com to spot your number one mistake and grab your free retirement report. Strategies for Wealth Management has your back. Let's protect, preserve, and grow your money. Build a rock-solid retirement now. Go to rocksolidretirementquiz.com.
Insurance products and services are offered by Strategies for Wealth Management. Content contained herein should not be construed as an offer or solicitation for investment advice or for the purchase or sale of any security, insurance, or other investment product.
Now, back to Melissa in the Morning. WICC 695.9, the voice of Connecticut.
Yeah, good morning, good morning, good morning. How is everyone? How you doing? 7:38:22 before 8. Open phones, open text message portal right now. Come on in. The water's fine. Lots of chlorine, lots of chemicals. No swimming hole here. Chemicals, chlorine, shock, they're all your friends. Paul and for Melissa here at 203-333-9422, 333-WICC on this Monday, Columbus Day, the 13th of October, 2025. Thank you once again. Met so many great people yesterday at the 117th Bridgeport Columbus Day Parade up and down Madison Avenue there. Great route there. A lot of folks there enjoying, and it was windy, a little blustery yesterday. But the weather held off, which is kind of cool. Coming up next hour in the first half of the 8 o'clock hour, 2-part interview with an historian from Penn State, Dr. Matthew Restall, who's written a new book, The 9 Lives of Christopher Columbus, getting some pretty good reviews from across the spectrum of politicians and also of scholars there regarding not necessarily fresh research into Christopher Columbus, but maybe a interesting, different way to look at what has gone on there. You have heard me in the afternoon talk about this, and John doing the news has talked about this today. That the one of the upcoming Connecticut congressional races, and of course we have 5 seats, districts 1 through 5 in the U.S. House, and of course in District 1 you have John Larson. In the 2nd district you have Joe Courtney. 3rd district Rosa DeLauro. 4th district Jim Himes, And in the 5th Congressional District, you have Jahana Hayes. Probably the most interesting matchup is may not be anything in the general election, because if you ask me, and I know people ask me all the time, hey, what do you think of this? I think personally at this point, unless there's something earth-shattering that's going to happen between now and Election Day next year, not this November. Remember, the elections this November are your municipal elections, your hyper-local elections, mayors, first selectmen, first select women, boards of education, RTMs, city and town councils, all of that. So that's not this November. We're talking November of 2026, but the jockeying and the positioning of those races has begun. And I tell you, here in Connecticut, you have got, and John has mentioned this, you heard him on the news earlier today, you have a fascinating matchup in the 1st Congressional District, which generally is the central part of the state and the greater Hartford area. Hartford, New Britain, West Hartford, Farmington, Simsbury, Middletown, Avon, that whole area. And you are hearing now, because what happened with the Republican Party with the emergence of President Trump back in late 2015, early 2016, that's happening with the Democratic Party right now. And you're looking at a possible generational change here. And you have I think there are 5 or 6 people declared in the 1st District Democratic primary, which, of course, features a 77-year-old veteran, 15 terms, I think. John Larson in Hartford, admittedly trying to hold on here. Even though he's a longtime incumbent, you now have, again, the generational thing stepped up in the Trump election the first time around. Now you're seeing it with the Democrats, where you have, a couple of younger Democrats with recognizable names saying to Congressman Larson, hey, Congressman, thank you, but it's time to move along. Now, I know he had those health issues and he froze up a couple of times, as many older members of Congress will do. It happened to Chuck Grassley, I think. I think it happened to Mitch McConnell. But Larson says he feels fine. He looks decently. He sounds okay. But you have John Larson trying to hold off a push by the former mayor of Hartford, Luke Broden. I think Luke Broden's in his late 40s, early 50s, I think. And he's raised a pretty good amount of money so far, being so far out from this election. He has raised over $1 million. John Larson's at about $700,000. So you heard our John Kamal on his story earlier with Chris Murphy trying to, in a sense, save John Larson here, because you have a younger challenger in Luke Broden, who by all accounts did a decent job in Hartford after what he had to inherit from the Pedro Segarra years and all that. On the further left, you have a veteran state representative who was appealing to the far progressive end of the Democratic Party, State Rep Jillian Gilchrist of West Hartford, who, when she ran a bunch of years ago, she was able to rally the far progressive end of the party and defeat a longtime centrist there in West Hartford. And I'm sure John will have that story more times this morning. But again, Chris Murphy coming in again to try and save John Larson. That's probably the most fascinating congressional race. With all due respect to the people who are running and challenging these people, Rosa DeLauro is safe. Joe Courtney is safe. Jim Himes is safe. Johanna Hayes will probably win again by about 1.5 or 2 points or 3 points in the 5th. But that first district, it's a generational thing, and it's fascinating, where you have younger Democrats like Luke Bronin and like Jillian Gilchrist, both appealing to different ends of the party, saying, hey, Congressman Larson, with all due respect, you're almost 78. It is time to move on. So we'll see how that shakes out. Now, again, in a multi-person primary, and by the way, there are two or three other candidates in that race, one of whom I believe is a young African-American woman, and she works at a rather powerful law firm in Hartford. So we'll see how that all shakes out. But should be interesting here. But as far as where we stand right now, that story that John has in the news, pretty timely here, because you can for Chris Murphy to come in and publicly declare his support for John Larson, that might mean the Larson camp maybe sweating a little bit on this, just a little. But we'll see how that shakes out. Traffic and weather together. It's Paul and for Melissa. Melissa in the morning here on a Monday, Columbus Day 2025 on WICC.
WICC Smart MLS Right Now traffic.
Lighter volume today for the holiday, so we're actually in pretty good position if you're going to take 95 right now, just slightly below the speed limit heading in through Westport. Parkway is looking great, and we're seeing no delays right now. 25-8 connector or Route 8. Fairfield County traffic every 10 minutes on WICC.
Good morning. If you have the day off, certainly not a good day. We are still dealing with the wind and rain. That'll be the theme through the afternoon. We have a wind advisory, coastal flood advisory through this evening as well. Peak wind gusts as of early this morning in miles an hour. In Bridgeport, 47 just after 3:50 in the morning. In Greenwich, 47 just after 2 in the morning. Fairfield had a 40-mile-an-hour wind gust at about 2:55. And New Haven, a 41-mile-an-hour wind gust earlier this morning just after 3 a.m. So we have been dealing with wind gusts in the neighborhood of 40 to 50 miles an hour. They will be in the neighborhood of 40 to 45 through this afternoon and then begin to abate later on this evening. In the rain gauge, as of early this morning, Shelton the leader at just about 2 inches at 1.94. In Greenwich, 1.85. In Danbury, 1.5, just about an inch and a half. Fairfield, again, just about an inch and a half at 1.47. In Greenwich, 1.23. Shelton, just over 1 at 1.14. And there's more on the way, maybe an additional inch by early tomorrow morning. Right now, we have readings generally in the lower 50s statewide. In Bridgeport, the reading is 50. Our dew point 50, hence humidity 100%. We're dealing with light rain. Our wind right now out of the northeast at about 18, gusting to 37 miles an hour this hour. We have the wind that will begin to abate later on this evening, but between then and now, it'll be on the windy side through the afternoon. We have the rain on and off through the day with a high in the upper 50s to near 60 degrees. Tonight, more rain on and off through about midnight or thereafter. We'll dip down to the lower 50s, still on the gusty side overnight. The wind out of the northeast gusting to about 30 by late at night. Tomorrow, we'll see any leftover showers heading in the morning, cloudy in the afternoon with a high in the low 50s. That will do it. And then by Wednesday, sunny with a high in the mid-60s, still a breeze out of the north. Thursday, sunny with a high in the upper 50s. Friday, sunny with a high of 60, and the weekend looks good. Sunny each afternoon with a high in the upper 60s to low 70s. Right now, we have the rain and the wind. That'll be the story through the afternoon. Right along the shoreline, again, we have a coastal flood advisory. Water levels about a foot or two above normal early this morning, and then again later on this afternoon and this evening. I'm meteorologist Paul Pioric on WICC.
Back to the news and talk. Thanks to Smart MLS. Smart sellers ask, is my home on Smart MLS? The voice of Connecticut. WICC 695.9. It's Melissa in the morning.
Hey, it's Paul and for Melissa. Good morning, good morning, good morning, and good morning to you on this Columbus Day, Monday, the 13th of October, 2025. Be sure to be with us right after the news. Next hour, top of the hour, great chat I had the other day with Dr. Matthew Restall from Penn State. Has a new book out about Columbus called The 9 Lives of Christopher Columbus. The power situation And you just heard our chief meteorologist, Paul Pioric, there talking about the wind gusts now, and there are power outages as far as Eversource is concerned, and they service about 1.35 million people in the state. We've got about 9,000 people spread out all throughout Connecticut without power. Most of these are single to double digits. There are some clusters of outages. And again, one outage, if it's you or your home or your business, is one too many. I get that. So when I say just minor outages here and there, I'm not trying to be dismissive here. About 125 people in Cheshire, 400 people in Columbia, 250 outages in Danbury, 400 in Greenwich. So Greenwich, good morning. You may be listening on a battery-powered radio. 400 Eversource outages in Greenwich. About 1,200 in Killingworth, 150 in Litchfield, and we just get a few dozen here and there. Newtown, about 135 people out in Newtown this morning. Ridgefield, 250 in Ridgefield, 250 in Salem. And let's see, Torrington has about 1,000 people out. And again, these are largely suburban areas with thick forested areas. Wilton with about 125 people out, and Woodstock with about 130. So the total about 9,000 because of the wind in the state because of these nor'easter. Just want to give a quick refresh here. Looks like things have improved a bit in Milford. Yeah, so good job there by UI. That outage in Milford, which was about 1,200 people, is now down to 450. So, and they've got, I guess, one of the four areas have been repaired already. So if you're in Milford, hang in there. The crews are out. They're getting it done. 450, a few dozen in Trumbull, just under 100 outages in Bridgeport, about 200 people out in Fairfield, just about a dozen in Stratford, and let's see, in Woodbridge, only a couple of dozen, folks. So there you go. Speaking of Trumbull, Bob in Trumbull is here. Bob, good morning. How are you?
Good morning, Reverend Paul.
Good morning.
For Columbus Day, I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Why is it a United States holiday
Yeah.
when Columbus never set foot in North America?
Mm-hmm.
He never did. So, I could say Leif Erikson Day because we know he was here, but we know Columbus never set foot.
Well, the reason being is that Columbus was held in high regard by Italians and Italian Americans. So, and Bob, thank you. In fact, thanks for the call. Let me pull this up because I knew somebody would ask this today. And Bob, you fortuitously asked that. So give me a second here. Here it is. Columbus Day was signed into law by President Benjamin Harrison in 1892 as a tribute and act of forgiveness to the Italian immigrant community in response to the lynchings of 11 Italians that took place in New Orleans back on the 14th of March, 1891. To this day, it is still the largest number of people ever lynched at one time in the United States. Now, the Columbus Day holiday quickly became a great source of pride and a symbol of defiance for the Italian-American community. Because you remember, at that time, no Italians to apply. And they did that with a lot of ethnicities. No Italians wanted, no Jews, no Irishmen. So there you go. Now, to Bob's point, he is correct in saying that there's always been, through the thousands of books written and thousands of scholarly pieces written about Columbus, regarding what he did from a navigational point of view. Yeah, this notion about discovering America and what did Columbus do versus, Amerigo Vespucci and Vasco da Gama. How many of those people did we learn about and memorize? Oh, the memorization. memorization in about these names in high school and in junior high and in elementary school. So, yes, Bob, you are correct. There is a lot of discussion and debate as to the navigational priorities and the origins of the thoughts of Columbus. And we'll have a key discussion about that coming up right here. Straight ahead, 56 past on WICC.
WICC Smart MLS Right Now Traffic.
It looks delay-free right now on the Parkway. Looking pretty good, too, on 25-8 connectors. Slow go. A little bit busy in Stamford on the Connecticut Turnpike. That's all I'm seeing right now. Fairfield County traffic every 10 minutes on WICC.
Columbus Day will be wet and windy. Coastal flood advisory and wind advisory through this evening. It'll be rainy and windy through this afternoon with a high in the upper 50s to near 60. Rain through midnight or thereafter on the windy side overnight with a low in the low 50s. Tuesday, early showers. Cloudy with a gusty breeze in the afternoon with a high in the mid-60s. I'm meteorologist Paul Piorek on WICC.
Hi, I'm Lee Gainham, that garden guy from Gainham's Garden Center in Florist and Fairfield. Do you have questions about your garden? Tune into that garden guy Sunday mornings at 8 for an hour of lively talk about your favorite pastime. We'll have weekly do's and don'ts and gardening tips of the week for our specific area, and we'll take your phone calls so we can offer solutions to problems you may be having in your lawn and garden right now. Call in and talk with me, that garden guy, Sunday mornings at 8 on WICC 695.9.
Are you a local business owner? We have a backstage pass for you. This is your invitation to our marketing open house, 8 to 9:30 a.m. on October 28th. Hey, Melissa Sheketoff here, and as a business owner, you have built a great business. You're proud of it, and you want it to grow. Come on October 28th and see how radio advertising can work for you. You hear the commercials on the Voice of Connecticut. Now let's get your business on the air. Our team is dedicated to helping local business with effective radio and digital advertising. So if you own a business, join us at the Connoisseur Media Open House on October 28th. It's free, but registration is required. To register, email your name and business to ctmarketing@conmedia.com, and we'll send you the details. October 28th is our marketing open house. Come see how our team will help your business grow. Email ctmarketing@connmedia.com. Time for you to be on the radio.
I'm still going for it, even with higher stroke risk from atrial fibrillation, an irregular heartbeat not caused by a heart valve problem. Over a 3-year study, Eliquis apixaban tablets reduced stroke risk better than warfarin, and over 97% of Eliquis patients did not experience a stroke. A first stroke occurred in 2.9% of warfarin patients versus 2.3% of Eliquis patients.
Don't stop prescription Eliquis without asking your doctor. Stroke risk may increase. Eliquis can cause serious and potentially fatal bleeding. Don't take if you have an artificial heart valve, abnormal bleeding, or antiphospholipid syndrome. While taking, you may bruise more easily or bleed longer. A spinal injection increases blood clot risk, which may cause paralysis. Get medical help right away for unexpected bleeding or bruising, or back pain, tingling, numbness, muscle weakness, or incontinence. Aspirin products, NSAIDs, SSRIs, SNRIs, and blood thinners increase bleeding risk. Tell your doctor about planned medical or dental procedures. Learn more at Eliquis.com or call 1-855-ELIQUIS.
Every 2 minutes, a woman in the U.S. is diagnosed with breast cancer. And in that split-second moment in time, her life changes forever. The toll of breast cancer is great. The need to support those who are battling the disease today is even greater. And that's why when others look away, Susan G. Komen leans in. We're fighting alongside patients because we know one moment can change a lifetime. Fighting breast cancer takes funding for research to discover the next new treatment, providing access to quality and affordable health care, and people willing to take action by raising funds and raising their voice to advocate for others. United by hope, we can end breast cancer. Join our fight. Save lives.
WICC. WICC Bridgeport, WFOX Southport, WEBE HD2 Westport, WPLR HD2 New Haven, locally owned by Connoisseur Media.
This
This is the CBS World News Roundup, sponsored by Progressive Insurance.
I'm Deborah Rodriguez. Jubilation in Gaza as hundreds of Palestinian prisoners are released from Israel and driven into Gaza. There's joy in Israel, too. Correspondent Deborah Patta from Tel Aviv.
People here cannot say it enough. The 20 living hostages are home. They were released by Hamas from 2 separate locations, and after being handed over by the Red Cross to the Israeli military inside Gaza, they were taken to an army base and reunited with their families.
President Trump says a long and painful nightmare is finally over. He's taking a victory lap in the Israeli Knesset right now. CBS's Stacey Lynn.
The president celebrated that this day has finally come when the hostages would be freed.
We gather on a day of profound joy, of soaring hope.
But reflected on the past and called what happened on October 7th
one of the most evil and heinous desecrations of innocent life the world has ever seen.
And he looked towards the future and said generations from now,
this will be remembered as the moment that everything began to change, and change very much for the better.
Mr. Trump heads to a peace summit in Egypt next, where Palestinian Authority leader Mahmoud Abbas awaits. Prime Minister Netanyahu says he will not go because of the Jewish holiday. Here in the U.S., federal workers are eking it out as the government shutdown enters day 13. Correspondent Bradley Blackburn.
As a dispute over health care subsidies rages on, the impacts are rippling across the country. More than 4,000 federal workers were sent termination notices last week, and hundreds of thousands, like Seton Parsons, have been furloughed. He was volunteering at a food pantry over the weekend while facing a squeeze himself.
Definitely lots of budget bites and cooking for yourself at home.
A powerful early nor'easter is slamming the East Coast with intense rain and damaging winds. This woman in New Jersey battened down the hatches.
Secured all the outdoor furniture, just put bungee cords around everything and taken what obviously is loose and light.
There is severe flooding in the Southwest. A driver swept away there is still missing. The Nobel Prize in Economics was awarded this morning in Stockholm.
Joël Moncur, Northwestern University, USA, Philippe Aghion, Collège de France, and INSEAD, France, and London School of Economics, UK, and Peter Howitt, Brown University, USA.
They all explained how technology drives economic growth. Dow futures up 344. This is CBS News.
Sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Take the next step forward in your career with great benefits and an award-winning workplace. Apply at careers.progressive.com.
WICC 695.9, Connecticut Lottery Voice of Connecticut Local News Update.
The powerful nor'easter that impacted Connecticut yesterday brought heavy rains and damaging winds. The southeastern part of the state was impacted the hardest, with around 1,000 widely scattered power outages reported. Those outages could continue to pop up today as the breezy conditions are expected to continue. There have also been some concerns raised about possible coastal flooding today along the shoreline. The Bridgeport-Port Jefferson ferry was suspended yesterday due to the weather, as well as the Cross Sound ferry. The ferry is expected to resume service at 10 a.m. this morning unless conditions change. As the shutdown continues, multiple Connecticut nonprofits are making sure that furloughed federal employees have the resources they need to feed their families and even feed their pets. The Connecticut Humane Society is encouraging federal employees to make use of the pet food pantry to make sure that even their furry family members have enough to eat. NBC spoke with James Bias from the Humane Society.
You know, our pets during uncertain times become an emotional life preserver for us. And the last thing we need to worry about is just food insecurity for our pets.
The Humane Society is encouraging anyone who can to donate to their pet food pantry. And anyone who is interested in using those services will have to fill out a short application online. For the Voice of Connecticut, WICC, I'm John Kamal.
Right, you are, and John this time around on WICC on the Melissa in the Morning program, brought to you by Courtesy Carpet Flooring Design Center. Hey, now is the time for a fresh new look for your home. Save on top flooring brands at Courtesy Carpet. No big box gimmicks, just fair, honest prices. Check them out, Courtesy Carpet, Route 111 in
WICC Smart MLS Right Now Traffic.
slight delay as you head into the merge of 95 on the 25A connector. Turnpike, some minor delays in Stamford. Speed limit ride this morning on the Merritt Parkway, the whole stretch. And no problems on Route 8. Fairfield County traffic every 10 minutes on WICC.
A wind advisory and coastal flood watch in effect through this evening. It'll be a rainy and windy day through early this afternoon with a high in the upper 50s to near 60. Rain ending after midnight with an overnight low in the mid 50s. It will be on the windy side. Tomorrow, a few scattered showers in the morning. Cloudy with a high in the mid 60s. Still a gusty breeze out of the north. I'm meteorologist Paul Piorek on WICC.
It's Duchess Restaurants. It's fresh, made to order, and it's what makes Duchess food so good. Duchess Restaurants has so many choices. Try the Big D Philly cheesesteak, or how about a combo meal like a Big D cheeseburger, long dog, or grilled chicken sandwich with fries and a drink, or a roasted turkey, bacon, and cheddar on wheatberry bread. You can't go wrong with one of Duchess Restaurants' many menu items: sandwiches, wraps, burgers, hot dogs, and more. All of Duchess's menu items are made to order, adding to their fresh flavor. You gotta eat at Duchess. Go to GoDuchess.com for the one nearest you. Duchess Restaurants. Fresh food served fast.
Who picks Post University? People who pick Post are people who believe in themselves and their potential. Post people want a school that helps them succeed on their terms, on their budget, and on their schedule. They want on-campus activities and online flexibility. Most of all, they want an education that could help prepare them for success in over 50 fields. Because when you're an Eagle, the sky's the limit. Are you a Post person? Find out now at post.edu.
This fall, cozy up to savings at Spectre Furniture and Mattress Gallery in Ansonia. Whether you're refreshing a room or refurnishing your whole home, Spectre Furniture's fall savings event makes it easy and affordable. And if your old couch or mattress has more lumps than your grandma's gravy, it's time for an upgrade. See what they're all about, or ask your neighbor. Spectre Furniture and Mattress Gallery, where tradition meets comfort. Trusted for 135 years. Thank you for shopping local. SpectreFurniture.com.
This is where Trumbull starts the day. Melissa in the Morning on WICC 600 and 95.9, the voice of Connecticut.
And back here on this Columbus Day, Monday, 2025, it's Paul in for Melissa on the Melissa in the Morning program. Melissa off. She'll be back tomorrow. But to Paul Pacelli on this Columbus Day. And it is fitting, I believe, that I welcome our next guest, who is the Edwin Earl Sparks Professor of History and Anthropology and the Director of Latin American Studies at Penn State University. You may have heard of that school. Also, the author previously of 7 Myths of the Spanish Conquest and When Montezuma Met Cortez, among his other books. The name of this one, pertinent for today, The 9 Lives of Christopher Columbus. And we welcome to the program here and to WICC, Dr. Matthew Restall. Dr. Restall, good morning. Great to have you with us. How are you?
Good morning. It's a pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me on the show.
And let me ask you up front, and I'm seeing this in some of the comments, the wonderful comments to your book here. What made you do this? Because there are a lot of people I see in the comments section here, Dr. Restall, and wondering myself also heading into this, there must have been a lot of stuff written already about the pluses and minuses and life of Christopher Columbus. What made you do this?
I know. Doesn't it seem like a foolhardy thing to do? It's a great first question. Like, what on earth are you thinking? Why are you doing this? And you know, when I started doing the research, I calculated there were about 2,000 books have been written on Columbus over the last 200 years. Now, I mean, that goes back into the 19th century. That's in different European languages and so on. But still, that's kind of an insane quantity. And I have to say that, you know, for my kind of professional career as a historian really began when I got my PhD in 1992. You can calculate how old I am there, right? And so there was a lot of Columbus stuff around. And obviously, when I was beginning my teaching career, I was teaching Columbus and therefore kind of writing a little bit about him. But, you know, if anyone had said over those decades, 90s, noughties, teens, hey, Restall, write a book about Columbus, they probably did. And I just would laugh. Like, you got to be kidding. You know, that's been absolutely flogged to death. So when you ask that question, believe me, I know that it's a really good question. But here's the thing is, almost all those books have some kind of partisan agenda to prove. People, most of those books are written, not every single one, but the vast majority, like a good 90%, are written by people who have an idea. They've read something, or they've heard something, or it's something to do with who they are, and they're convinced. I think Columbus wasn't from Genoa at all. I think he was Portuguese. Or I think he was secretly Jewish. Or, I mean, even down to one sentence in one letter that Columbus supposedly wrote in his lifetime to Queen Isabel of Spain.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody wrote a whole book leveraging that one sentence into an argument that he was having a romantic affair with Isabel, that Isabel and Columbus were romantically involved, and that explains all kinds of things. So, okay, obviously I investigated that, and I don't believe that to have been the case at all. But my point here is that there's a huge number of books, but what none of them did was connect all the dots. I said collect. Okay, I said connect all the dots.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So collect and connect all of the dots. And by the dots, I mean not just details, myth busting about his actual historical life, who he was, what he did, all of that. I mean the dots going all the way up to the present, to whatever protests may happen to be happening today around the country on Columbus Day, whatever may be happening this week, whatever statements might be made by politicians and pundits and so on. Those things remind us that Columbus is still alive. And that's really, the 9 Lives of Christopher Columbus, that title, first of all, is meant to kind of evoke that, right?
Yeah.
And prompt that thought in the listener's brain or the reader's brain, like, oh, okay, this guy he died 520 years ago, but he's somehow still alive and still among us. And is there a book I can go to that kind of explains that, but also explains, maybe answers all the questions I have about Columbus, and then a whole bunch of questions I never knew I had?
Yeah.
That's what I've tried to do here.
You talk about, Professor and Doctor, the dots here. Did we know all the dots? Have we still been uncovering dots here, or were they kind of always there going back hundreds of years, and is it just a matter of finding new pathways between them?
Yeah, that's very nicely put. Actually, that's very generously put, because you're totally right. And I mean, essentially what, the hostile question could have been, did you find anything new? Did you uncover a stone that no one had uncovered? Mm-hmm. And if not, then we're not interested, right? So, yeah. And so I appreciate the generosity of the question. No, I did not find anything that no one has ever seen or heard of or thought of before. I mean, that's the result of, the 2,000 books, right? The point is every one of these sources, whether it's like a painting that everyone knows that's hanging in the Metropolitan Museum in New York, whether it's letters that he supposedly received from a mathematician in Florence during his lifetime, which I investigated, people have written about that. There's a whole book written about those letters 100 years ago by a French guy, right? Now, first of all, it's not everybody has the years of training. People don't have the job I've got, right? Where they have the time to investigate letters supposedly written in Italian and Spanish, 530 years ago, and then read the book by this obscure Frenchman 100 years ago, analyzing it. So I'm sort of doing that work to then bring into my book, which is, 2 pages in English. I can say this was the controversy or the controversy about these letters. This is what historians have said. This is my opinion. And now you don't have to go and do all of that work and dig up and so on. So a lot of these dots are like, yes, they're out there, but they're very, very obscure. And then some of them are not obscure. They're right out there. Like, let me give you a crazy example. You go on TikTok and look up Columbus on TikTok.
Yeah.
Put Columbus, so you search for Columbus and manatees. So I actually haven't looked within recent weeks to see how much of this stuff is still up there right now, this minute. But when I was doing the research in the last few years, kind of really focused in writing this book, I found all of these TikTok memes talking about how he abused manatees. Yeah. And they're kind of funny, but also sort of, it's like horror comedy, right? It's dark comedy. Yeah. It's about, they're really saying that this guy is like, not only was he into genocide, he was into bestiality and he raped animals. It was just kind of dark stuff, but they're making fun of it. There's a kind of a TikTok humor to it. So for me, that's a dot. that is never been connected.
Interesting.
If you can find for me anywhere in the 2,000 books, I mean, most of these books are written before TikTok existed.
Yeah.
Where anybody actually takes that seriously as a phenomenon and tries to explain it, which is, what I try to do in the book. So some of the dots are obscure.
Yeah.
Some of them are not obscure, but no one has thought to take them seriously as kind of part of a larger conversation.
And we are chatting with Penn State University historian Dr. Matthew Restall about Christopher Columbus on this Columbus Day. The name of his new book, The 9 Lives of Christopher Columbus. He maintains that Columbus is still alive because of all the debate. We will have more coming up right here on WICC.
WICC Smart MLS Right Now Traffic.
This is considered a holiday ride, lighter than usual volume on the Connecticut Turnpike and also on the Merritt Parkway this morning. Some minor delays, 25A connector as you head into the merge of 95 right past Main Street. Other than that, we are in great shape this morning everywhere. Fairfield County traffic every 10 minutes on WICC.
Good morning. You'll need to hang on to your hat and certainly have the umbrella. A wet and windy day on the way. Right now we've got a wind gust of 33 miles an hour at Bridgeport. Not as windy as earlier this morning and overnight. We have wind gusts in the neighborhood of 45 to 50 miles an hour, but still rather windy outside. And we do have a wind advisory through this evening. Peak wind gusts as of this morning in Bridgeport, 47 miles an hour at 3:51. In Greenwich, 47 miles an hour just after 2 in the morning. Fairfield, a 40-mile-an-hour wind gust at 2:55. And New Haven, a 41-mile-an-hour wind gust just after 3 earlier this morning. So we had the highest wind gusts in the middle of the night, and right now it's still on the windy side, but not nearly as windy as overnight. In the rain gauge, Shelton had just about 2 inches, 1.94 as of 6 this morning. In Greenwich, just about 2 inches, 1.85. In Danbury, 1.5. Fairfield, 1.5. In Greenwich, 1.25. And then Shelton, just a little more than 1 inch, 1.14. Coastal flood advisory for early this morning and later on this afternoon. Water levels may run about a foot or two above normal right along the immediate shoreline later this afternoon and this evening with that northeast wind pushing the water into Long Island Sound. So be aware of that. There will be some minor to moderate flooding along the shoreline late this afternoon, just after 4 through about 6 or 7 later this evening. Right now we have a reading of 50 degrees in Bridgeport. Our dew point is 50. Humidity 100%. Our barometer is 2993 on the way up. We do have that northeast wind right now gusting to 33. Earlier we had wind gusts 45 to 50 in the morning. It will be a wet day. The rain on and off. Some moderate rain now moving just to the north of Bridgeport. We have moderate rain in Trumbull, Easton, Reading, right along Route 8 in Derby, and Sonia, Seymour, and Shelton. All this is moving from the southeast to the northwest. Then by later this evening and overnight, more rain on and off through about 2 in the morning. And then by daybreak, we'll dip down into the mid-50s. Tomorrow, scattered showers in the morning, cloudy in the afternoon, still on the windy side, but by no means as windy as today. We'll have a high in the mid-60s. On Wednesday, sunny with a high in the mid-60s. Thursday, sunny in the upper 50s and more sun Friday through the weekend. Right now, we are just about 50 degrees in Bridgeport. We are windy and wet. That'll be the theme through the afternoon. I'm meteorologist Paul Fioric on WICC.
Going out to eat for half the price? There's only one word to describe that. Sweet. It's another week of sweet deals at voiceofct.com. Half-price gift cards to your favorite locally owned restaurants and businesses. But when the sweet deals are gone, they're gone. And they go fast. So don't wait. Stay local and save some dough. Grab the half-price sweet deals now at voiceofct.com. Heard on High Ridge, Long Ridge, and all over Stamford. It's Melissa in the Morning on WICC 695.9, the voice of Connecticut.
And the debate continues on the life and legacy of Christopher Columbus as we settle in for this Columbus Day Monday 2025 on October the 13th. And we continue with our guest, historian from Penn State, Dr. Matthew Restall. His new book, The 9 Lives of Christopher Columbus. Whenever the subject of Columbus comes up on this program and in this area, and we debate it, and, there's the tie-in with Italian culture and a lot of us here in the Northeast, one thing I ask people to do, and I want to get your opinion on this, and obviously this is something I would think you've taken into your research. The world was so incredibly different back then. I mean, 500 plus years, our thoughts and ideas of what was good human conduct is so vastly different now than it was back then. So do you think it's difficult in any way, shape, or form to judge what Columbus thought was a norm versus what we have 500 years worth of hindsight to look back on?
Yeah, I think so. I think there's two sides to that. One is yes, we can judge. These are our standards, and let's judge people in the past. And I think there's something useful in that. But the other side of it is, and it absolutely has to go along with that, is to say, but while we're judging this one individual, in this case, Columbus, and there's plenty you can find to judge, particularly in his attitude towards indigenous peoples and slavery, right? The kind of those hot topics right there. And they should be hot topics. But at the same time, let's just, before we walk away from having, judged Columbus or allowed that to then determine what we're going to do, like, pull down a statue or something, I think it's really, really important to talk about the context. Why is he like that? Is that surprising that he was, thought that there's nothing wrong with slavery? No, it's not. It actually would have been amazing if he was opposed to it. That would have been odd, and that would have been odd. So let's talk about that and talk about what kind of phenomena existed in societies around the world, and including in indigenous societies, that allowed slavery to be possible. How did it turn into the transatlantic slave trade, one of the most horrific sort of phenomenon or long-term moments in human history, right? We need to. There's never a point where we can say, no, we've already talked about that. There's no more to talk about. Those are things we should always keep talking about to make sure they don't happen again. But let me just squeeze in one really important point, in case there are Italian Americans listening to this going, what's this guy? Is he one of these people who hates Italian Americans? Where does he stand on this issue? I think that the 9 lives, it's important to stress that the last of these 9 lives is the Italian-American Columbus. And so what I have done is isolated an Italian-American Columbus and separated him from an American Columbus and shown historically how those develop. And it's really my hope that whether you are Italian-American and see Columbus as kind of a hero for you and your ancestors, or whether you are not at all and don't understand that and think he's a symbol of genocide, that you can kind of see how I've tried to explain these are separate Columbuses, and therefore it's okay to love your Columbus and hate the other Columbus and the other way around. It doesn't mean that there's a permanent battlefield. I think it means that that's a place in which people can meet to exchange views and understand each other's perspectives. That's my hope. Anyway, a bit naive maybe, but that's that. I'm hoping this is kind of like a peace proposal.
Well, there you go. And listen, it never hurts to expect people to think. Excellent point to end on. The name of the book, folks, pick it up. I'm sure you'll enjoy it. The 9 Lives of Christopher Columbus, written by Penn State University professor and historian Dr. Matthew Restall. Dr. Matthew Restall, thank you so much, and continued good luck in the future. We appreciate the time.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me on the show. Thank you for listening, folks. Thank you.
All right, there you go. Thank you to Dr. Matthew Restall, Restall. You may want to pick up the book, download it, whatever, audiobook, read it the old-fashioned way, read it on a tablet, whatever you have, maybe your Kindle reader or whatever, the 9 Lives of Christopher Columbus. What'd you think? We have some open phone time coming up at 203-333-9422, 333 WICC. Quick update on the power situation. There are some outages out there. Eversource has been dealing with about 7,500 to 9,500 outages since we got up and underway this morning with the back half of this nor'easter and the big wind gust that our Paul Bjork says will still come today. I think he said Shelton and that part of the valley had one of the highest wind gusts, about 45, 50 miles an hour or so. So again, 8,800, roughly just over 8,800 customers still affected. If you are an Eversource customer and you're in the dark, you are amongst the the 8,800 other customers that are basically a few dozen here and there. I do know that in Fairfield County, Greenwich had a measurable amount of 422. So a bit over 422 folks in Greenwich in Fairfield County out. Ridgefield has 250, and a few other spots are at or around the 100 customer level. So that is the deal for Eversource. As far as UI is concerned, we will refresh that, get that to you. Milford was the hardest hit area in UI's territory. Milford now is down to 113 customers. So power being restored in Milford. It was up at about 1,200 outages earlier today. It's down to just 113. So kudos to the crews out there. And let's see, in Fairfield has about 175 people still out in the town of Fairfield. But we have a new reading here on the map. There are now 2,300 people out in Shelton. So if you're in the dark in the city of Shelton, roughly 11% of all power from UI is out in Shelton. So we're talking about 2,319 folks with a power outage in Shelton. We'll continue to watch this. It's Paul in for Melissa. Melissa in the morning on a Monday on WICC.
WICC Smart MLS Right Now traffic.
Looking good on the Turnpike and the Merritt Parkway this morning. No problems to report. No problems reported on Route 8 north or southbound. Just a bit of a delay southbound on the 25A connector from Main Street to the 95 merge. Fairfield County traffic every 10 minutes on WICC.
Columbus Day will be wet and windy. Coastal flood advisory and wind advisory through this evening. It'll be rainy and windy through this afternoon with a high in the upper 50s to near 60. Rain through midnight or thereafter on the windy side overnight with a low in the low 50s. Tuesday, early showers. Cloudy with a gusty breeze in the afternoon with a high in the mid 60s. I'm meteorologist Paul Piorek on WICC.
Sell your home smoothly when you call Car Beauty. Go to carbeautyrealestate.com.
Hey y'all, it's your boy Gary LaVox of Rascal Flats, and it's true, we are hitting the road one more time next year, and I love traveling through Connecticut. I'm looking so forward to our show coming up in Uncasville. There are so many amazing folks there, like my friend Jonathan Carbeauty of Carbeauty and Company Realtors. If you're thinking about selling your home, you need to talk to John and his team. And hey, you can find out what your home is worth in less than 30 seconds. Just go to Carbeauty and Company Realtors website and click What's My Home Worth? It's free, it's easy, and we'll get you moving on. When you need an agent you can trust, and we'll give you the most selling options, that's Jonathan Carbeauty and Carbeauty and Company Realtors. And remember,
Sell your home smoothly when you call Car Beauty. Go to carbeautyrealestate.com.
Next up for Connecticut Superstar auditions, The Scratchers.
It's the first Tuesday of the month. It's time to scratch tickets. There's a bunch.
Stop. First Tuesday? Yeah, Connecticut Lottery releases new scratch tickets on the first Tuesday of every month.
First Tuesday. That's a yes for us.
New tickets, new prizes, new chances to win. It's the first Tuesday, so let's get scratching.
Odds vary by game. Must be 18 or older. Problem gambling helpline. Call 888-789-7777.
This is your CT Insider weather update. Mostly cloudy and windy over the weekend with a high chance of rain. Temperatures in the mid to low 60s with low temperatures reaching the 50s.
Powered by CT Insider.
There's more to Connecticut with CT Insider, a hometown behind every headline. With every issue, investigation, or interview, there's more when you're following from the inside. Visit ctinsider.com for more.
The average cost of mesothelioma treatments can exceed $400,000, and families often face losing their homes and life savings just to pay the bill. If you or a loved one has been diagnosed with mesothelioma, you may be entitled to significant compensation to help the cost involved with the treatment. Mesothelioma is caused by exposure to asbestos, and companies knew the risk, but you shouldn't have to bear the costs alone.
The law firm of Flint Cooper has helped victims and their families secure financial support they're entitled to. Call Flint Cooper now because time is running out for you to file a claim. Call 800-606-8169 for a free consultation. If you've been diagnosed with mesothelioma and don't have legal representation, call Flint Cooper now at 800-606-8169. That's 800-606-8169. Call now. 800-606-8169.
You're listening to WICC 695.9, the voice of Connecticut, broadcasting from the Town Fair Tire Studios. Nobody beats Town Fair Tire.
This is WICC 695.9, the voice of Connecticut.
CBS News special report at the Israeli Knesset. President Trump arriving to speak there momentarily. Shortly after our news partner, the BBC, reported all 20 living Hamas hostages have now been released. Earlier, the president said on Air Force One,
"You know, a great deal is a deal where everybody's happy. In every country, they're dancing in the streets. That's a great deal. It's a unique period in time."
He was accompanied to the Knesset by Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. Aid trucks have begun rolling into Gaza. UNICEF's Tess Ingram is in Gaza City, where survival has immediate needs.
Water is a priority. Everybody we spoke to yesterday told us about the desperate need for water, particularly here in the north, because water systems have been decimated. And then, of course, winter's around the corner, so we're trying to bring in shelter for families.
CBS News special report. I'm Michael Toscano.
WICC 695.9, Connecticut Lottery Voice of Connecticut local news update.
The powerful nor'easter that impacted Connecticut yesterday brought heavy rains and damaging winds. The southeastern part of the state was impacted the hardest, with around 1,000 widely scattered power outages reported. Those outages could continue to pop up today as the breezy conditions are expected to continue. There have also been some concerns raised about possible coastal flooding today along the shoreline. The Bridgeport-Port Jefferson ferry was suspended yesterday due to the weather, as well as the Cross Sound ferry. The ferry is expected to resume service at 10 a.m. this morning unless conditions change. Senator Chris Murphy is endorsing Congressman John Larson as he fights to keep his 1st District House seat. Murphy is choosing to endorse Larson over former Hartford Mayor Luke Bronin, who's challenging the longtime congressman for the seat. At the announcement, attended by News 8, Senator Murphy spoke about the need for voices like Larson's in the modern political landscape.
He has always been a very loud voice for democracy, for civil rights, for a fair economy. He is a loud voice both figuratively and literally, and we need loud voices right now.
Murphy says it's hard for him to picture the state delegation without Larson, whom he called a longtime mentor. The 77-year-old Larson was first elected to the seat in 1998 and is seeking his 15th term. New Haven Congresswoman Rosa DeLauro is calling on Republicans to negotiate with her and other Democrats to end the government shutdown. DeLauro says the lack of discussions between the sides is upsetting. She says both sides need to have the political will to get this done, but House Republicans have recessed and have not scheduled a return to Washington. DeLauro says that Democrats will not agree to any deal that does not protect health insurance subsidies.
For anyone who gets their coverage through Access Health, that's about 142,000 residents in Connecticut. Monthly insurance premiums could double. A family of 4 living in Milford, who has an income of $130,000, now pays $921 a month. They're now going to pay $2,800 a month in 2026, an increase of almost $23,000 a year.
No injuries are reported after a single-engine plane crashed in New Milford. The crash was reported Friday night at Candlelight Farms Airport, which is a grass runway off Candlewood Mountain Road. 2 people who were on the plane were able to free themselves and walk to the hangar on their own. Both refused medical treatment. The FAA is investigating the crash. 10 people are displaced following a fire in Bridgeport. The blaze was reported Friday night on Lincoln Avenue between Main Street and Madison Avenue. The 9 adults and 1 child who live in the building were all able to escape without injury. The Red Cross responded to the scene to help the residents who were forced from their homes in finding temporary shelter. For the Voice of Connecticut, WICC, I'm John Kamal.
Okay, right you are, John. You're brought to us this time around by M.J. Thomas Jewelers. Hey, you looking to buy or sell gold? Visit M.J. Thomas Jewelers in Stratford. For expert service and great deals, their knowledgeable staff is there to assist you with all your gold needs. Check them out. For more info, go to mjthomas.com.
WICC Smart MLS Right Now Traffic.
Connecticut Turnpike southbound and also the Merritt Parkway, Route 8, 25A connector. They're all checking in A-OK. We do have an accident reported Route 7, north and southbound, approaching 107 of the gas stations in that area. Injuries reported there. Fairfield County traffic every 10 minutes on WICC.
Wind advisory and coastal flood watch in effect through this evening. It'll be a rainy and windy day through early this afternoon with a high in the upper 50s to near 60. Rain ending after midnight with an overnight low in the mid 50s. It will be on the windy side. Tomorrow, a few scattered showers in the morning. Cloudy with a high in the mid 60s. Still a gusty breeze out of the north. I'm meteorologist Paul Piorek on WICC.
At Abriola Parkview Funeral Home in Trumbull, we understand that planning for life's milestones is important. But what about planning for your funeral? While it may be difficult to consider, pre-planning can ease the burden on your loved ones during a challenging time. By planning now, you can ensure that your wishes are honored without leaving emotional or financial strain on your family. Visit abriola.com to learn more about our compassionate pre-planning services. Plan today for peace of mind tomorrow.
Experience the range-topping, dual-motor, all-wheel drive sophistication of the Cadillac Lyriq at Cadillac of Greenwich. The Lyriq is the first American car to win the German Car of the Year and offers undeniable style and uncompromising comfort. Or experience the first Lyriq V, the fastest production Cadillac ever produced. Arrive in style with this pinnacle of modern automotive excellence. Visit CadillacofGreenwich.com today and elevate your driving experience with the iconic 2025 Cadillac Lyriq.
I'm Barbara from Trumbull, and I've used Steve Basso Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning since 2012 when he diagnosed the source of a carbon monoxide problem when no one else could. I use him for maintenance and emergency situations for that reason. He has always been able to fix any problem in my home. There's no one better than Steve Basso.
Looking for a reliable plumbing or HVAC company? Steve Basso Plumbing, Heating, and AC has proven customer satisfaction since 1974. Go to BassoPHAC.com. That's BassoPHAC.com.
Bring your furry friends to Paws in the Park, a Halloween bash. Join Bridgeport Animal Control this Saturday, October 18th from 12 to 4 at Post Office Square, 1160 Main Street in downtown Bridgeport. Enjoy a pet costume contest and parade, beer garden, pup cup bar, food, shopping, music, demonstrations, and more, all to support the Bridgeport Animal Shelter. It's Paws in the Park, and your leashed, vaccinated, well-behaved dogs are welcome. Learn more at colorfulbridgeport.com or BPT Animal Shelter on Facebook.
It's time for Crime on the Mind with crime prevention expert, retired Fairfield Police Lieutenant Jim Perez. Now on Melissa in the Morning, WICC 600 and 95.9, the voice of Connecticut.
Hey there, good morning, 8:38:22 before 9. It's Paul in for Melissa on the award-winning Melissa in the Morning program. Retired Police Lieutenant Jim Perez joins us, Crime on the Mind. Hey, Jim, it's Paul here. Always good to talk to you, my friend. How are you?
Good, Paul. Great to talk to you. Always great to talk to you. What's going on?
Yeah, you tell me, brother. What do you got for us this week?
Well, I want to address something that is just pretty stunning, actually.
Yeah.
And that's the recent violence that have taken place straight across the country and even in our area.
Mm-hmm.
So just to start it off, I mean, we've had some recent mass shootings just yesterday in St. Helena, South Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
It was a shooting at a bar with 4 people dead, 20 injured. Leland, Mississippi, before that, during a high school homecoming weekend, multiple separate shootings occurred, resulting in several deaths in both incidences.
Yeah.
Franklin County, Pennsylvania, police chase ended with exchange of gunfire. 2 troopers were wounded. Suspect was killed. And I can go on and on and on. That's just national. Now, if we go regional, a 13-year-old was arrested in New York for the murder of an 11-year-old in New York City. 3 people were also additionally injured in Times Square in a separate shooting, and a 17-year-old was arrested. And also a man was shot during a DEA operation. I mean, it just goes on and on. And then here in Connecticut, a suspect pistol whipped a juvenile on a sidewalk in Meriden. A woman assaulted a man and a dog before hitting a Derby police car. There was a robbery at a farm in New Haven. And then, of course, a 14-year-old was stabbed to death in a park in the Bronx. So, I mean, listen, even though violent crime has dropped over the recent years, for some strange reason, there's been an increase in like violent crimes. And what I don't want is I don't want it to come here, you know, as we're reading across the country and across the region. And I'm very grateful that we have a safe state and that police are very ultra professional. And if you look at our police across the state, they really are. They're when you match them up with police around the country, we are top notch. And there's a reason for that, and there's a reason why we can remain safe and feel good. But I need people to be ultra aware of their environment, especially now, and because it's just getting crazy.
Yeah, Jim, and this is something I know that you always preach, is just take a minute, and even I do that, Jim. If I'm going into a mall or a shopping center, or even if it's places, Jim, that I frequent all the time, 2, 3, 5 times a week, the convenience store I always go to, the supermarkets I always go to, I think, Jim, sometimes we put ourselves on automatic and we forget that this is like not our living room or this is not our back porch. It's a place that is oftentimes, or places through no faults of our own, targeted by people who would do us harm. And it's sad, but it happens.
Yeah, we never, I always say this, but it's true. We never really have crime intel ahead of time when we arrive somewhere. You know, when you have a VIP person or someone with, someone who's going to give a speech or someone who's going to visit somewhere, there's usually a forward team that will go ahead and gather all the intelligence and all the information on all the things that have gone on there and the possible threats. Well, in our everyday lives, we don't have the luxury of that. So we have to almost do our own intel analysis and you're right. It's every time you walk into a place, you should look around like you command the place, like you're in charge of it. Look around at everything that's going on, at every little noise that you hear. And as you're and you don't have to be paranoid about it. Just as you're shopping and you're doing things, you're ultra aware of the environment because you need to be able to react almost instantly when something bad happens.
And for God's sake, get off your phone. I mean, I understand. Yeah. I mean, like, you're there in a store with a bag or, a woman's handbag or a man's bag sitting there in a shopping cart and you're gabbing away at someone. And then, Jim, we're supposed to be surprised with all these stolen bags and people's wallets getting picked. I mean, my God, can you get your face out of the phone? Jeez.
Listen, that's one of the reasons. That's one of your biggest enemies when you're out in public is being on the phone. I've seen people walk in front of me, and I'm driving a car, and they're walking in front of me, and they don't even look once when they're crossing because they're on their phone. I see people in stores doing the same thing. And what ends up happening is, listen, I promise you this, nothing that you're reading is that important.
I know.
That it should overtake the safety and security of your life. Nothing. So you know what? And you know what I'm a fan of? Paper list. Sit at home instead of doing it on the phone where you constantly have to be watching the phone because you have to have your list on there. No, write out a list that forces you to put your phone away and concentrate on the list, which you can easily manage while also being aware of your surroundings, which is extremely important.
Retired Fairfield Police Lieutenant Jim Perez on the Melissa in the Morning program with his weekly check-in Crime on the Mind. Jim, I thought of you, and immediately when I saw this story, I read it in my afternoon show here 3 weeks ago, and sadly we see it again. I think it was happening in the Valley off Route 34 at one of the big shopping centers there with a big label grocery store. The police, I think it was in Orange or Derby, again telling mostly women, please don't leave your bags unattended in the top of the shopping cart as you load your car. And we've all seen this, Jim, because they were reporting on a spate of stolen vehicles coming into these big grocery store parking lots with juveniles. I think they said one kid was 12 or 13, and they're telling the kids, Jim, go out and grab the bag. Hurry up. Jim, look, I know people are creatures of habit. You don't need to take a bag. Take a small wallet, a billfold, and keep it in your overcoat or your pants pocket. But again, it's about as you always say, knowing your surroundings, and just get your head out of the clouds.
Yeah, oftentimes we get into a complacency, and complacency can kill. It's just that simple. Complacency can injure. Complacency can make your life miserable. And so what you're talking about specifically are, listen, there are bad guys out there that are adult age. They're 17, 18 to 19, 20. And what they do is they still have a criminal mind. So what they do is they recruit all these young kids because they know that if they can get the young kids to commit the crime, it's a slap on the wrist and they'll be home in no time. Where if they commit it, they'll actually go to jail, possibility of going to jail or getting in more trouble. So that's why you're seeing these are groups of juveniles, and that's because of our juvenile state laws have been relaxed to the point where it's almost pointless. And this is why this is happening. But anyway, I think that getting back to awareness, I think that people need to be aware. I can't tell you how many times I see this happening where people leave all of their belongings and they'll walk 10, 20 feet away to go look at a label of a can of something that they're about to buy. It drives me nuts. I want to say something to them, and we've done this before. It's called Purse Patrol. We've actually gone through and warned people. We put a sticker on it. Nice. On their purse. Yeah, just to warn them, that, listen, you shouldn't be doing this. If I'm able to put a sticker on your open purse, that means that I was able to take anything. And we've done that time and time again. It's endless.
The other thing, Jim, that drives me nuts, I don't care how familiar you are, you're at the convenience store and you leave your car running. And you run into, and there's a convenience store near where I live, and once or twice last year they had cars stolen out of there because they have somebody watching, a couple of 100 feet away or behind a fence where you don't see them. Oh, the car's running. See you later. That's mind-boggling. People do that.
And here's the worst part about that. Oftentimes they leave their key fobs in the cars. And what's attached to the key fob? Ready?
Oh, your house
garage door opener.
Oh, yes.
The garage door opener sometimes. Or, they can have it programmed right in the car. So if they steal your car, they technically have access to your house. So they'll have time after they take your car to actually look up the address and then go to the house and then boom, before you know it. Or how about leaving your car unlocked at home? Listen, people assume that their driveways are secure.
No.
They're not secure. People they're not gonna respect it. Bad guys are going right through as if they're walking in the mall. They don't care.
Jim, and finally, a couple of weeks ago it was Westport or Wilt. I mean, a high dollar area. They say cars are being stolen, Jim. People are leaving their keys and key fobs in the car. And, Jim, I say all the time on the afternoon show, it ain't Mayberry. I mean, Andy and Opie ain't coming down the road. Who leaves their keys in the car, Jim? I don't get it.
I'll tell you, it's lazy. It's people who are complacent and lazy. They figure you can't. I just don't understand. I never understood that.
Yeah.
But it's something that you're inviting criminals into your neighborhood and into your home. So if that's what you want, to continue doing what you're doing, because I promise you, they will be out there from 1 a.m. to 5 a.m. trying doors. They don't even break windows anymore. They just try the doors because they're all open, and they steal intellectual property from work. They steal key fobs, all kinds of things. So folks, just let's get it together and understand that, life is precious. Time is of the essence. We don't have a lot of it, and let's just kind of make the most of it. But more importantly, let's be careful. Never compromise time for security,
Absolutely. Retired Lieutenant Police Lieutenant Fairfield, Jim Perez, Crime on the Mind. Jim, thank you. Great to chat with you. We'll chat down the road.
Have a great week.
Thank you, Jim. Appreciate it. Thank you. Yeah, and folks, I mentioned it a couple of weeks ago. It was in, I think, Westport or Wilton, somewhere nice. And the cops were saying, please, for the love of God, that's me saying it, not them, saying, what are you doing? Lock your cars and take your stuff out along with the keys.
WICC Smart MLS Right Now Traffic.
Some delays now on the Connecticut Turnpike, Bridgeport, Fairfield, also in Stamford. Nothing big, though, just slow. And we're also looking very good on the Parkway, too, at this moment. No problems to report there. Sponsored by RD Cinto. If you move your office to an RD Cinto property, your employees will value coming to work. Learn more at Cinto.com. You deserve it. Fairfield County traffic every 10 minutes on WICC.
Good morning, everyone. A holiday for many, but not a good day weather-wise. It will be windy and wet through the afternoon. We had wind gusts nearing 50 miles an hour overnight. Earlier, peak wind gusts from Bridgeport, 47 miles an hour at 3:51 in the morning. In Greenwich, 47 just after 2 in the morning. Fairfield had a 40-mile-an-hour wind gust at about 2:55 earlier this morning, and New Haven, 41 just about a little after 3 in the morning. So we've had wind gusts in the neighborhood of 45 to 50 miles an hour. Right now, they are in the neighborhood of 35 to 40 this morning, and we do have a wind advisory through the afternoon. In the rain gauge, that rain gauge is filling up as of early this morning. Shelton nearly 2 inches, 1.94. In Greenwich, 1.85. In Danbury, exactly an inch and a half as of 6 earlier this morning. Fairfield, 1.47. In Greenwich, 1.23. In Shelton, just over an inch at 1.14. And there may be another inch through early tomorrow morning. Now, the other story, coastal flood advisory through this evening. We have that gusty northeast wind. The water is just piling up in Long Island Sound, and the water levels may be a foot or two above normal late this afternoon and this evening during the time of high tide at Bridgeport, which is about 5 in the afternoon. Right now we have readings generally at or near 50 degrees, 50 in Bridgeport. Our dew point is 50. The barometer is 2993 on the way up. We do have a northeast wind right now, gusting to 33 miles an hour in Bridgeport. It'll be a wet day, the rain on and off through this afternoon. On the windy side, wind gusts in excess of 35 to 45 miles an hour this afternoon, with a high in the upper 50s to near 60. The rain through midnight or thereafter tonight, still on the windy side with a low in the low 50s. Tomorrow, a gusty breeze out of the north by midday. Cloudy, leftover showers ending by mid-morning with a high in the mid-60s. Thursday, sunny with a high in the upper 50s, and more sun Friday through the weekend. Right now, we're at 50. That wind gusting 33 miles an hour out of the northeast. We'll be in the upper 50s this afternoon. Rainy and windy, the weather theme. I'm meteorologist Paul Pioric on WICC.
Back to the news and talk. Thanks to Smart MLS. Smart sellers ask, is my home on Smart MLS? The voice of Connecticut. WICC 695.9. It's Melissa in the morning.
Right here on WICC 600 AM, 95.9 FM, and of course streaming for all your digital devices. You can stream us on a desktop, a laptop, a notebook, a netbook, your phone, your smart speaker there. Go to voiceofct.com. Check it out, voiceofct.com. And thanks once again to retired Fairfield Police Lieutenant Jim Perez and Crime on the Mind. Yeah, I believe it was a couple of weeks ago, and I think it was Derby Police in the Route 34, the Big Y shopping plaza there in Derby, way up 34. And they were warning people. Now, basically, women carry handbags. I know, guys, there are some guys that carry man bags. I get it. But they're warning people. And this is not the first time this has happened. We hear about this probably a couple, 3, 4 times a year. And you get sometimes a lot of, out-of-town gangs who will come in from the cities and they will go to the suburbs and they will recruit, as Jim Perez told us, oftentimes a juvenile, because Connecticut's laws with handling juvenile criminals as compared to other states are in some way, shape, and form a lot less easier on the juveniles. And again, so they'll get some 12 or 13 or 14-year-old kids, and they will drive around. They will literally, and by the way, they usually do this according to police. They do this in stolen vehicles because they know that women, a lot of you ladies out there, particularly older women, you want to carry everything with you. And I'm not victim blaming here. Please, believe me, I'm not. But reflexively, we do stuff, men and women of all ages, and we don't think. And okay, I'm wheeling the shopping cart out, just got out of whatever store. Oh, there's my car. Okay, I open it. And what do? You put the shopping cart aside and you pick bag number 1 and bag number 2. So what these gangs are doing, largely from the cities, is they are driving up and down the roads, and they see largely, according to what police say, a woman, mainly an older woman, who has put her bag up on that top part of the shopping cart, which is usually you had your kids riding up. There's like a built-in child seat there with holes for the legs and everything. Well, you put your bag up there, or even with guys, you put your wallet up there, whatever. And then this way, a kid can go. A smaller kid doesn't have to stick their arm way down to the basket, and they grab the bag and they go. Usually in a stolen vehicle. So don't do that. Ladies, there is no reason, and I'm not victim blaming here, and I'm not saying you should live in fear, but if you're going out to a highly populated area, including, as the police have said, it's not just me pulling this out of thin air. The police have said, don't do this in major grocery store parking lots, because this is where that stuff goes bad. No need to take your full bag. No need. Take something small, maybe a small wallet, something that can fit in your pocket. Or now that we're getting into the colder weather, you're bringing out the raincoats and the overcoats again. Put that on the inside of your coat. The other one that drives me nuts, I remember a couple of years back during COVID, when we all had to stay 6 feet away, because if you were 5 feet, 10 inches, you'd be arrested. During COVID, there were people getting there. And I remember this was, I think, in Westport, Wilton, or Darien. How about this one? And I've had a relative, in fact, my son said he has friends that do this. They go running, they lock their vehicle, and they leave. You ready for this? They leave their wallet and keys in the wheel well on top of one of the wheels. Yes, that actually happens. No, I don't know what people are thinking. I don't. But there are people, and the cops have said it, they've had to actually ask people, functioning human beings, don't leave your wallet and your keys on top of the back wheel of your SUV. This is WICC. We're back momentarily.
WICC Smart MLS Right Now Traffic.
91 southbound North Haven got a two-car crash right near the Route 40 connector. Delays are back to Washington Ave. This is between exits 10 and 9, so just be aware of that. It does have a backup there, 91 southbound. Both the Turnpike and the Parkway are in great shape this morning. Fairfield County traffic every 10 minutes on WICC.
Columbia Dental in Norwalk is part of a trusted integrated network, offering comprehensive dental services from A to Z, all in one convenient location. From routine cleanings to advanced procedures, their expert team is ready to care for your smile. Call Columbia Dental in Norwalk today at 203-299-0111 or visit columbiadental.com. Complete dental care all under one roof.
It's time to make an appointment to tour Forest Hills Milford, one of the newest luxury rental 55 and over communities in Connecticut. Step into a home where every detail is designed to offer ease and comfort. Forest Hills Milford's spacious, brand new luxury apartments include assigned garage parking with elevator access and use modern technologies to bring ease and comfort to everyday living. Nestled in the beauty of Milford, close to beaches, golf, marinas, and more. Visit foresthillsmilford.info to learn more. Forest Hills Milford, home made easy.
Dine out for half price. Go to voiceofct.com. Click on the Sweet Deal banner. Over 30 great local restaurants offering $50 gift cards for only $25. Restaurants include Pepe's Pizza, Vazzi's, Mill Pond Gatherings, Jacob's Pickles, Zuka, Twisted Vine, Gusto's, Dino's Seafood, Joseph's Steakhouse, Melting Pot, Twin Pines, The Landing, and more. Buy restaurant gift cards at half price at thevoiceofct.com. Click Sweet Deals. Sweet.
I'm still going for it, even with higher stroke risk from atrial fibrillation, an irregular heartbeat not caused by a heart valve problem. Over a 3-year study, Eliquis apixaban tablets reduce stroke risk better than warfarin, and over 97% of Eliquis patients did not experience a stroke. A first stroke occurred in 2.9% of warfarin patients versus 2.3% of Eliquis patients.
Don't stop prescription Eliquis without asking your doctor. Stroke risk may increase. Eliquis can cause serious and potentially fatal bleeding. Don't take if you have an artificial heart valve, abnormal bleeding, or antiphospholipid syndrome. While taking, you may bruise more easily or bleed longer. A spinal injection increases blood clot risk, which may cause paralysis. Get medical help right away for unexpected bleeding or bruising, or back pain, tingling, numbness, muscle weakness, or incontinence. Aspirin products, NSAIDs, SSRIs, SNRIs, and blood thinners increase bleeding risk. Tell your doctor about planned medical or dental procedures. Learn more at Eliquis.com or call 1-855-ELIQUIS.
You're listening to WICC 695.9, the voice of Connecticut. WICC Bridgeport, WFOX Southport, WEBE HD2 Westport, WPLR HD2 New Haven, locally owned by Connoisseur Media.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by Progressive Insurance.
I'm Deborah Rodriguez. All eyes were on President Trump after all 20 living hostages were returned to Israel this morning, and hundreds of Palestinian prisoners were released from Israeli jails and taken to Gaza as part of Mr. Trump's ceasefire plan. CBS's Stacey Lynn monitored his speech to the Israeli Knesset.
The long and painful nightmare is finally over.
The well over an hour-long speech served as his victory lap for orchestrating the peace plan.
It's an incredible triumph for Israel and the world to have all of these nations working together.
Bringing home the hostages.
Against all odds, we have done the impossible and brought our hostages home.
And hopefully bringing peace to the entire Middle East.
Palestinians have hopes their lives will improve. Correspondent Deborah Patta.
The ceasefire deal is a lifeline for Gaza. Desperately needed aid can finally flow into the territory to help ease the dire humanitarian crisis. Days on from the start of the ceasefire, Gazans, deprived of basic necessities for so long, they are battling for every scrap.
A hostage group says the bodies of 4 of the remaining 28 dead Israeli hostages will be returned Monday. In the U.S., the Senate returns tomorrow to try to break the deadlock over a spending plan and end the government shutdown. It's day 13, and making ends meet is getting tougher for furloughed employees. Here's Torian Small.
Affected TSA agents, FAA agents, members of the Border Control, and military people. President Trump recently said that he has directed his Department of Defense secretary to redirect funds in order to pay troops.
A nor'easter tearing up the East Coast right now. Floodings washed over a huge portion of the Virginia coastline. Both New Jersey and New York are under states of emergency. This woman in New York City.
I literally went food shopping and I came back in a taxi and there was a tree on my car.
Police in South Carolina are still looking for suspects after a mass shooting at a bar near the Georgia state line. WSCS TV's Caroline Spikes.
The shooting happened at Willie's Bar and Grill on St. Helena Island. Hundreds were reportedly there, including a 2002 high school class reunion group. 4 victims were pronounced dead at the scene, while 4 others were taken to an area hospital to be treated for critical injuries.
A word on a motive. This is CBS News.
Brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Not only does Progressive let you bundle your insurance, they also give you round-the-clock protection. Quote today at Progressive.com.
Vanity Fair calls BritBox a delicious streamer. Collider says everyone should be watching. Catch Britain's next best series with BritBox. Stream acclaimed new originals like Code of Silence.
You read lips, right?
And Linley, based on the best-selling mystery series.
Hi, Linley. Take it from here.
And don't miss the new season of Karen Piri, coming this October.
You don't look like police. I'll take that as a compliment.
See it differently when you stream the best of British TV with BritBox. Watch with a free trial today.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. Ever wonder why Big Wireless wants you on an unlimited plan? They probably want you to cover the cost of those 20-somethings using all that data every month. But most people 50 and up like me only use 12 gigs or less. Don't get bamboozled by Big Wireless. Switch to Consumer Cellular. Our plans start at just $20, and we use the same towers as the big guys. Join the millions who choose something better, because if you're not using all that data, you're probably getting used.
Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com/facts. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional facts.
WICC 695.9, Connecticut Lottery Voice of Connecticut Local News Update.
The powerful nor'easter that impacted Connecticut yesterday brought heavy rains and damaging winds. The southeastern part of the state was impacted the hardest, with around 1,000 widely scattered power outages reported. Those outages could continue to pop up today as the breezy conditions are expected to continue. There have also been some concerns raised about possible coastal flooding today along the shoreline. The Bridgeport-Port Jefferson ferry was suspended yesterday due to the weather, as well as the Cross Sound ferry. The ferry is expected to resume service at 10 a.m. this morning unless conditions change. As the shutdown continues, multiple Connecticut nonprofits are making sure that furloughed federal employees have the resources they need to feed their families and even feed their pets. The Connecticut Humane Society is encouraging federal employees to make use of the pet food pantry to make sure that even their furry family members have enough to eat. NBC spoke with James Bias from the Humane Society.
You know, our pets during uncertain times become an emotional life preserver for us. And the last thing we need to worry about is just food insecurity for our pets.
The Humane Society is encouraging anyone who can to donate to their pet food pantry. And anyone who is interested in using those services will have to fill out a short application online. For the Voice of Connecticut, WICC, I'm John Kamal.
Thank you, John. John brought to you this time around by Kitchen Corner in Fairfield. Hey, get ready for the fall season with Kitchen Corner in Fairfield, your one-stop shop for fall and Halloween needs, plus expert knife sharpening, too. They can do that for you. Give them a call, 203-374-1118, or visit kitchen-corner.com.
WICC Smart MLS Right Now traffic.
Minor delays northbound approaching the West Rock Tunnel at the Wilbercross Parkway. Two-car crash. It's off to the shoulder. Just some minor delays through that area. We have 2 lanes blocked. Exit 10 southbound at 91 because of an earlier two-car crash, and that is causing a backup in North Haven area. Parkway right now is in great shape southbound, though speed limit, and just some delays in Stamford on the Connecticut Turnpike southbound. Fairfield County traffic every 10 minutes on WICC.
A wind advisory and coastal flood watch in effect through this evening. It'll be a rainy and windy day through early this afternoon with a high in the upper 50s to near 60. Rain ending after midnight with an overnight low in the mid-50s. It will be on the windy side. Tomorrow, a few scattered showers in the morning. Cloudy with a high in the mid-60s. Still a gusty breeze out of the north. I'm meteorologist Paul Pioric on WICC.
Maritime Chevrolet of Fairfield Mobile Service Plus is the next generation of door-to-door maintenance and repair. Enhance your Chevrolet, GMC, or Cadillac ownership experience by making your vehicle maintenance easier. Our technicians come to you at home or work with Mobile Service Plus. Experience next-level service from Maritime Chevrolet in Fairfield. World-class technicians, superior professionalism, and customer care starts at MaritimeChevy.com. That's MaritimeChevy.com.
Sometimes the most important personal breakthroughs are made possible by medical ones. And that's why Smilow Cancer Hospital delivers the pioneering research of Yale Cancer Center, like targeted therapies based on your genetic makeup and groundbreaking clinical trials that offer hope when you need it most. All delivered by a multidisciplinary team dedicated to you and your specific type of cancer. Smilow Cancer Hospital and Yale Cancer Center. We're powering breakthroughs with the greatest of care.
This is where Fairfield starts the day. Melissa in the Morning on WICC 600 and 95.9, the voice of Connecticut.
All right, let's talk a little college football with our partnership with the fine folks at Sacred Heart University. Yeah, we're in the throes of football season. And joining us right now to talk about the Pioneers football team at Sacred Heart, what's happening this year and what's going to happen with the eventual move, and the wheels already underway to go to a new conference, is the head coach of the Sacred Heart University Pioneer football team, Mark Knopfrey. Coach, good morning. It's Paul here. How are you?
Good. How are you? Thanks for having me.
Not too bad, Coach. I know coaches, having covered sports for like 40 years, Mondays are always better when you won on Saturday, right?
Everything's better when you win on Saturday. Sitting in traffic's easier. The food tastes better. Everything is better.
You beat Howard this past Saturday, 32-14. Give us some highlights of that game.
We were down 14-0 at half, and
wow.
or 14-3 in the second half. We made some adjustments, and like I've said before, our kids never quit. They play 4 quarters, they play hard, and they came together and we found a way to win the game 32-14. In the second half, we had some outstanding performances on both sides of the ball. One of our true freshmen, starting running back Mitch Summers, rushed for 243 yards and 2 touchdowns.
It's not a bad
carries.
day. That's not a bad
No,
day.
that's not a bad day at all, right? And, defensively, we had some guys step up. One of our linebackers, Mike Diedelbaum, he had 9 tackles, a sack and a half, and a tackle for loss. We played really well in the second half. And, I've been saying it all along. These kids, this team is really fun to be around and really fun to coach. They're very resilient. They play hard, and they care about football and each other, and that's part of the process.
Now, you're involved, Coach, in the Pios and the Pioneers athletic program, and the Pioneers really have notched it up here with the renovations to the William Pitt Center, with the new Martiri Family Arena, and with renovations now to the football field ongoing, and the move to the CAA next year. So you're playing your last year in your present schedule. You're moving, of course, to the Coastal Athletic Association. So how's that balancing act been, playing this final season before you go to the CAA, looking ahead with anticipation to that, and still having to do some recruiting as well?
Yeah, so, the CAA, to me, is one of the probably top 2 or top 3 conferences in all of FCS. And, I think it's a privilege to be invited to it and to play in that conference. And, we'll have our work cut out for us. It's no secret. It's a great conference. They usually get anywhere from 3 to 5 bids to the playoffs every year. It's very strong from top to bottom. We're excited about it. We're ready for the challenge. And, the school's done a great job setting us up for however long it's going to be in the CAA. These past 2 years playing an independent schedule. It's been challenging, but it's been great. Our administrations did a great job putting together a competitive schedule, playing schools. We played some Ivy League schools. We played some Patriot League schools.
Yep.
We played some HBCU schools. This week, actually, we're going out to Montana and playing a Big Sky school. So we've done a good job balancing and getting a good mix of competition at the FCS level. So I know our kids are excited about being 5-2 right now and want to finish this season strong. Like I said, we were playing Montana this weekend, who I believe is ranked 3rd in the country. And then last game of the year, we're playing Villanova, who's, again, they're in the top 20 as well. So it's good. The kids are excited. We're kind of focusing right now on the last 5 here and kind of go from there.
And Coach, and the guest is Coach Mark Nofri of the Sacred Heart University football team. Coach, in covering this stuff for years, as I have as well, these road games, as you mentioned, like to Montana, like at Villanova, they're tough, but they're also a recruiting tool, are they not? Because, you may have some players in the stands who, may be going to the home game there, but looking around, maybe some kids who'd like to play, guys who have ability, and say, hey, I should look into this Sacred Heart in Connecticut. Where is that? So that's a kind of an advantage, too, is it not? Especially when you're going to different parts of the country.
Absolutely. We're going to Villanova, which, is in Philly, and we've done a great job. One of my assistant coaches, Pat Saporito, has done a phenomenal job recruiting Pennsylvania and the Philadelphia area. We've taken quite a few kids out of St. Joe's Prep, which is in Philly.
Yeah.
So that's huge to go down there. And then, we've also done a good job in the Eastern PA and the Northern PA, where Lehigh was when we were on the road at Lehigh. The last probably 5 years, we've done a pretty good job and expanded our recruiting areas to the DMV area, Delaware, Maryland, Virginia. And we were down at Norfolk State, 3 weeks ago. So we are grabbing kids from some of those places that we visit, and it's always good to play some of the schools that have had football for a long time. And, with rich tradition. I mean, you think about Lehigh and Lafayette, played for over 100 years. And it's a great opportunity to go play at Lehigh to see their type of facility and what they have, and to be exposed to those type of schools academically as well.
Coach, one thing that's great about having schools like Sacred Heart in the area, and I grew up in New Haven with Yale, and I covered the University of New Haven, and I've gone to your guys' games. It's really good college football. I think people... sometimes you get deluged with, I've got to watch the top 20 or the top 25 on TV. But I don't know about you, Coach. To me, sitting in a stadium with 70,000 other people, I'd rather go to a scenario like Sacred Heart where you're a lot closer to the action and you're seeing some really great college football locally.
Absolutely. I mean, I will say this: our administration and our people here have done a phenomenal job with the game day experiment or the game day experience for the fans here. Like we draw very well for what we have in terms of a stadium, and you know, the past we probably play 5 to 6 home games a year, and each and every one has a great turnout. They have great experience. We've added some different things. You know, right now we don't have stands on the visitor side. That's being, you know, in the process of being built, so that should be done hopefully by November. But I think it's awesome if you can go watch a 12 o'clock or a 1 o'clock game locally who's got great college football. You know, then you're home for the 7 o'clock game on TV at night, so you can get the best of both worlds.
Absolutely. So the remainder of your schedule, Coach, you got Montana heading out there. Then a game with the University of New Haven. UNH is stepping up their program. Then Virginia Lynchburg, Merrimack, and you finish on the road at Villanova. So you're looking at a 5-2 schedule now with still a bunch of games, 5 games left. Well, what do you hope, and why should the folks come out to see you guys against UNH, Virginia Lynchburg, and Merrimack?
Well, again, you talked about, you know, there's some great football locally, and I believe that, you know, we have a very good team. It's a great team to be around and watch. Last year, you know, we were talking about some of the games that we lost in the fourth quarter. This year, 5-2. 4 out of 5 of those games, we won them in the fourth quarter. Wow. So it's gone down to the wire, and it just shows how tough and how hard our kids play. It's a credit to them and how much they love football and the chemistry they've built, and they find ways. You know, they find ways. We're hoping, you know, like I said, take one game at a time, and obviously 5-2 with 5 left. We'd like to win all 5. That's our goal, but we got to take 1 week at a time and play our best. And, you know, also you got to make sure you're healthy. It's that time of year where you're starting to lose people and everybody's banged up. But you're looking to, you know, for the final stretch here to win each and every game and take one at a time. But our kids are great, and they've been great since the beginning of the season, and I'm very proud of them and what they've been able to accomplish so far.
How excited are your young men to go to Montana? Look, I would imagine, I don't care what you do, Coach, whether you're an accountant, you're a doctor, you gab on the radio like I do, a lot of America never gets to Montana. So is it going to be an interesting trip?
It'll be great. I think the kids are excited about it. I know the coaches are excited about it. And we're looking forward to going out there. I know they're leading FCS in pretty much attendance and selling out every game. So I'm sure it'll be a great hostile environment, and our kids will enjoy it, I'm sure.
Head football coach at Sacred Heart University in Fairfield, Coach Mark Onofre. Coach, travel safely. Good luck at Montana, and we'll chat down the road. Thanks. Appreciate it.
All right. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Appreciate it. Head coach Mark Onofre at Sacred Heart University in Fairfield. Yeah, so the Pioneers, 5-2. They had a win against Stonehill, lost to Lehigh. Lehigh's very good. And then wins against the LIU, Norfolk State, Delaware State, another very good team, a loss to Central in overtime, and then a win at home this past weekend at Campus Field in Fairfield, and then a roadie at Missoula, Montana. Yeah, that conference out there, they are football crazy out there. Then home for the University of New Haven, Virginia Lynchburg, Merrimack College, and they finish up their last year as an independent at Villanova before segueing to the Coastal Athletic Association for next year. So good luck to the coach and the football team at Sacred Heart.
WICC Smart MLS Right Now traffic.
Shoulder block northbound Wilbercross Parkway into the West Rock Tunnel. That's an earlier 2-car crash. No big deal behind that at all. It's just a curiosity driving by there. Southbound on the Parkway speed limit. Southbound on the Connecticut Turnpike. Seeing some minor delays in Stamford. Fairfield County traffic every 10 minutes on WICC.
Columbus Day will be wet and windy. Coastal flood advisory and wind advisory through this evening. It'll be rainy and windy through this afternoon with a high in the upper 50s to near 60. Rain through midnight or thereafter on the windy side overnight with a low in the low 50s. Tuesday, early showers. Cloudy with a gusty breeze in the afternoon with a high in the mid 60s. I'm meteorologist Paul Piorek on WICC.
Getting through your work week is tough, but the weekend means one thing: football. And all the best action is heard live on WICC. Every Sunday at 11, the Rudin Report presents Sunday Morning Quarterback, recapping the week of high school football. Then at 12:30, it's time to go pro with the NFL and the Duchess Restaurants doubleheader, because Sundays are made for football. Every week this season on WICC 600 and 95.9, the voice of Connecticut. It's time for the Market Scoreboard Report with Ron and Sana. Now on WICC 600 and 95.9, the voice of Connecticut.
I'm Frank Miller for Ron and Sana. Well, the markets get back to work this Monday following a down day on Friday. Well, the market's seeing some weakness after President Trump threatened a massive increase in tariffs on Chinese products coming into the U.S. The government shutdown continues. Most major economic data has been postponed. Reports on consumer and producer price inflation, along with retail sales and residential construction, had been scheduled for release this week. However, those have been delayed. The Bureau of Labor Statistics, though, says that the consumer price inflation report that was set for release on Wednesday will now be released on Friday. Meanwhile, the Bureau of Labor Statistics says that the CPI data will allow the Social Security Administration to meet deadlines to process timely payments of benefits. Meanwhile, President Trump says that he's found a way to pay troops during the shutdown. He didn't identify the sources or the amount that would be used for salaries. And Luigi Mangione's lawyer is asking for federal charges to make him eligible for the death penalty to be dismissed. He's pleaded not guilty to shooting and killing United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson back in December of last year.
I'm still going for it, even with higher stroke risk from atrial fibrillation, an irregular heartbeat not caused by a heart valve problem. Over a 3-year study, Eliquis apixaban tablets reduced stroke risk better than warfarin, and over 97% of Eliquis patients did not experience a stroke. A first stroke occurred in 2.9% of warfarin patients versus 2.3% of Eliquis patients.
Don't stop prescription Eliquis without asking your doctor. Stroke risk may increase. Eliquis can cause serious and potentially fatal bleeding. Don't take if you have an artificial heart valve, abnormal bleeding, or antiphospholipid syndrome. While taking, you may bruise more easily or bleed longer. A spinal injection increases blood clot risk, which may cause paralysis. Get medical help right away for unexpected bleeding or bruising, or back pain, tingling, numbness, muscle weakness, or incontinence. Aspirin products, NSAIDs, SSRIs, SNRIs, and blood thinners increase bleeding risk. Tell your doctor about planned medical or dental procedures. Learn more at Eliquis.com or call 1-855-ELIQUIS.
Starting your day off right. Melissa in the morning. Only on WICC 600 and 95.9. The voice of Connecticut.
All right here, right now at 203-333-9422, 333-WICC. Once again, 203-333-9422, 333-WICC. Thanks once again to Sacred Heart University football coach Mark Nofri. And the Pios are heading out to Montana. How about that? You know, that's another great thing about college athletics. And, you know, I am, just to be fair and open it up front, I do work for Sacred Heart. I do color on their men's hockey games. I have worked in the past for Quinnipiac. One of the great things is the kind of one of the alternate benefits that college athletes garner from this is, if it wasn't for their athletic ability, a lot of athletes, not everyone, but if it wasn't for their athletic ability, a lot of athletes wouldn't get to see certain parts of the country for whatever reason, be it economics, be it just a lack of interest to go out there. I mean, think of how little, comparatively, now, unless you're a person that makes it a point to travel a lot, but comparatively, think of how little of the U.S. that you or I or even an athlete might see until they get to the college level. And that's why, college athletics is not, athletic departments spend a boatload of money. These road trips are not cheap, but think about the experience, not just of playing the game, but, honestly, it's that whole thing. Half the fun is getting there. So it's great that, all these coaches and the team people and the roster of players that they're going to be going to, out west to Montana to to play schools out there. I mean, those those northwestern schools, the Montanas, the Idahos, the Dakotas out there, it's a kind of place where they're into their athletics out there. So it's great that these athletes will be able to see that. Want to just let you know about something. We got a call from a very nice person a little while ago. Want to talk about just wanted us to know if we could mention this, and of course we can. A local food drive at the Calvary St. George's Episcopal Church in Bridgeport, and they kind of call me every year, I think, to remind me of this in the afternoon. So there's an upcoming food drive we're happy to tell you about at the Calvary St. George's Episcopal Church in Bridgeport. It's coming up in a few days on the 18th of October, which I guess is Saturday, right? Let me do my days. Hold on. 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. There you go. Had to go to the second hand with the index finger there. So it's coming up at the Calgary, Calvary, should say, not Calgary, the Calvary St. George's Church in Bridgeport, 755 Clinton Avenue, coming up Saturday the 18th, 10 to 3. So glad to mention that on the Melissa in the Morning. Paul Pacelli here, Melissa in the Morning program. And thanks so much for the folks that invited me. What a great bit of people. Great group of people. Met a lot of WICC listeners yesterday, marching down Madison Avenue in Bridgeport from the diner there at the top of the hill and all the way down a good mile and a half. Got my steps in yesterday, but it was fun. In the 117th annual Columbus Day Parade in Bridgeport, and by the figuring of our friend Chris Caruso. Great to see Chris yesterday. I haven't seen him in a few years. The second oldest, Chris told me last week, in America. Care to guess where it's thought to? What city do you think is thought to have the oldest next to Bridgeport? Bridgeport is likely number 2. What city is thought to be the city with the longest running Columbus Day Parade? No, not that, no. How about this? San Francisco. Now, that's what I'm told. So there you go. All right, open phones coming up on the other side to wrap up the show. We're also going to talk to an author as well. So how about that? It's Paul and for Melissa. Melissa in the Morning right here on WICC.
WICC Smart MLS Right Now Traffic.
Little volume southbound on the Connecticut Turnpike in Fairfield, and that's it. Parkway speed limit 2 from New Haven right to the state line. No problems north and southbound on Route 8. Fairfield County traffic every 10 minutes on WICC.
A wind advisory and coastal flood watch in effect through this evening. It'll be a rainy and windy day through early this afternoon with a high in the upper 50s to near 60. Rain ending after midnight with an overnight low in the mid 50s. It will be on the windy side. Tomorrow, a few scattered showers in the morning. Cloudy with a high in the mid 60s. Still a gusty breeze out of the north. I'm meteorologist Paul Piorek on WICC.
The Connecticut Lottery reminds you that gambling can be a fun form of entertainment, but it's not risk-free, so it's important to play responsibly. Make sure you understand how the games work. Know the odds, set time limits, and take breaks. To find out more, visit ctlottery.org or responsibleplayct.org. Must be 18 or older to purchase lottery and 21 or older to place sports wagers. Help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org.
Do you have questions about real estate? Learn the secrets of real estate investing and get your questions answered during the Real Estate Show with Pat Civitella. Listen Sunday mornings from 9 to 10 for expert information about real estate investing, downsizing, and improvements before selling. Pat will help turn your real estate dreams into reality. Tune in and call The Real Estate Show with Pat Civitella. Sunday mornings from 9 to 10, right here on WICC 600 and 95.9.
I'm still going for it, even with higher stroke risk from atrial fibrillation, an irregular heartbeat not caused by a heart valve problem. Over a 3-year study, Eliquis apixaban tablets reduce stroke risk better than warfarin, and over 97% of Eliquis patients did not experience a stroke. A first stroke occurred in 2.9% of warfarin patients versus 2.3% of Eliquis patients.
Don't stop prescription Eliquis without asking your doctor. Stroke risk may increase. Eliquis can cause serious and potentially fatal bleeding. Don't take if you have an artificial heart valve, abnormal bleeding, or antiphospholipid syndrome. While taking, you may bruise more easily or bleed longer. A spinal injection increases blood clot risk, which may cause paralysis. Get medical help right away for unexpected bleeding or bruising, or back pain, tingling, numbness, muscle weakness, or incontinence. Aspirin products, NSAIDs, SSRIs, SNRIs, and blood thinners increase bleeding risk. Tell your doctor about planned medical or dental procedures. Learn more at Eliquis.com or call 1-855-ELIQUIS.
Donors choose. Support a classroom. Build a future.
Did you know that every year, public school teachers spend nearly $500 of their own money for student supplies? Let's do the math. That comes out to over $1.2 billion a year. And that's just not right. At Donors Choose, we want students and teachers to have the tools they need for a great education. And now, more than ever, they need your help. Here's what you can do. Go to DonorsChoose.org and choose from teachers' requests that support reading, math, science, history, and more. Once a request is funded, we'll take care of shipping everything directly to the teacher. It's that easy. You'll receive thank you letters and photos from students and teachers, and a report of how every dollar was spent. Teachers' needs have never been greater. Learn more at DonorsChoose.org.
Donors choose. Support a classroom. Build a future.
Whether you need it to cool off after a workout or warm you up in a hot bath, your tap water is there when you need it. It is even used to produce your morning coffee, the clothes you wear, or cleaning the fruits and veggies you like to snack on. Your water utility works hard around the clock to ensure high-quality drinking water is there when you need it on demand. To learn about your water's journey from source to tap, contact your local water provider. Visit drinktap.org to learn more. This message is brought to you by the American Water Works Association.
This is WICC 695.9, the voice of Connecticut.
CBS News special report at the Israeli Knesset. President Trump arriving to speak there momentarily shortly after our news partner, the BBC, reported all 20 living Hamas hostages have now been released. Earlier, the president said on Air Force One,
"You know, a great deal is a deal where everybody's happy. In every country, they're dancing in the streets. That's a great deal. It's a unique period in time."
He was accompanied to the Knesset by Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. Aid trucks have begun rolling into Gaza. UNICEF's Tess Ingram is in Gaza City, where survival has immediate needs.
Water is a priority. Everybody we spoke to yesterday told us about the desperate need for water, particularly here in the north, because water systems have been decimated. And then, of course, winter's around the corner, so we're trying to bring in shelter for families.
CBS News special report. I'm Michael Toscano.
WICC 695.9, Connecticut Lottery Voice of Connecticut local news update.
The powerful nor'easter that impacted Connecticut yesterday brought heavy rains and damaging winds. The southeastern part of the state was impacted the hardest, with around 1,000 widely scattered power outages reported. Those outages could continue to pop up today as the breezy conditions are expected to continue. There have also been some concerns raised about possible coastal flooding today along the shoreline. The Bridgeport-Port Jefferson ferry was suspended yesterday due to the weather, as well as the Cross Sound ferry. The ferry is expected to resume service at 10 a.m. this morning unless conditions change. Senator Chris Murphy is endorsing Congressman John Larson as he fights to keep his 1st District House seat. Murphy is choosing to endorse Larson over former Hartford Mayor Luke Bronin, who's challenging the longtime congressman for the seat. At the announcement, attended by News 8, Senator Murphy spoke about the need for voices like Larson's in the modern political landscape.
He has always been a very loud voice for democracy, for civil rights, for a fair economy. He is a loud voice both figuratively and literally, and we need loud voices right now.
Murphy says it's hard for him to picture the state delegation without Larson, whom he called a longtime mentor. The 77-year-old Larson was first elected to the seat in 1998 and is seeking his 15th term. New Haven Congresswoman Rosa DeLauro is calling on Republicans to negotiate with her and other Democrats to end the government shutdown. DeLauro says the lack of discussions between the sides is upsetting. She says both sides need to have the political will to get this done, but House Republicans have recessed and have not scheduled a return to Washington. DeLauro says that Democrats will not agree to any deal that does not protect health insurance subsidies.
For anyone who gets their coverage through Access Health, that's about 142,000 residents in Connecticut. Monthly insurance premiums could double. A family of four living in Milford who has an income of $130,000 now pays $921 a month. They're now going to pay $2,800 a month in 2026, an increase of almost $23,000 a year.
No injuries are reported after a single-engine plane crashed in New Milford. The crash was reported Friday night at Candlelight Farms Airport, which is a grass runway off Candlewood Mountain Road. Two people who were on the plane were able to free themselves and walk to the hangar on their own. Both refused medical treatment. The FAA is investigating the crash. 10 people are displaced following a fire in Bridgeport. The blaze was reported Friday night on Lincoln Avenue between Main Street and Madison Avenue. The 9 adults and 1 child who live in the building were all able to escape without injury. The Red Cross responded to the scene to help the residents who were forced from their homes in finding temporary shelter. For the Voice of Connecticut, WICC, I'm John Kamal.
Right, you are John, sponsored this time around by the Connecticut Lottery. Hey, now play your favorite draw games at ctilottery.org. Odds vary by game. Got to be 18 or older to purchase. Help is available for problem gambling. Call them at 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org.
WICC Smart MLS Right Now Traffic.
Speed limit this morning southbound on the Connecticut Turnpike. Looks like from New Haven right to the state line. Same thing on the Parkway, too. It is a very good ride. Very light traffic this morning. And also on the 25-8 connector and Route 8 north and southbound, things are looking great. Fairfield County traffic every 10 minutes on WICC.
Columbus Day will be wet and windy. Coastal flood advisory and wind advisory through this evening. It'll be rainy and windy through this afternoon with a high in the upper 50s to near 60. Rain through midnight or thereafter on the windy side overnight with a low in the low 50s. Tuesday, early showers. Cloudy with a gusty breeze in the afternoon with a high in the mid 60s. I'm meteorologist Paul Piorek on WICC.
Selling your home is a numbers game. The more potential buyers who see it, the greater the opportunity to sell. And when your home is listed on Smart MLS, more than 21,000 realtors see it, and so do all their buyers. Suddenly, the number of people looking at your home starts to grow by a lot. More realtors sharing your listing. More people seeing your home, more offers coming in, and maybe more cash in your pocket. Smart move, right? Ask your realtor, is my house on Smart MLS? Smart MLS, the smart way to sell your home.
Want to know how business gets made in Connecticut? Check out the Made podcast at voiceofct.com. It's the official companion to the Made Leadership Series. Want to stay ahead of the curve and learn from top minds? Check out Connecticut-made.com and get made.
Discover the finest flooring in Southern Connecticut at Courtesy Carpet. With over 50 years experience, from intricate area rugs and durable vinyl to elegant stair runners, they have it all. Shop anywhere, but see them before you buy. Visit L&J and their team on Route 111 in Monroe or at courtesycarpet.com. Financing is available, so you can get the floors you love today. Trust the experts in quality flooring, because at Courtesy Carpet, your satisfaction is their courtesy.
Stay heart healthy with the City of Bridgeport Department of Public Health BPT Heart Program. Wednesdays 10 a.m. till 2 p.m. at the Eastside Farmers Market, 752 East Main Street, Bridgeport through October 15th for free blood pressure screenings, limited $5 coupons, and free digital monitors for qualifying participants.
Fairfield County's local leaders are all heard here. Melissa in the Morning on the Voice of Connecticut, WICC 600 and 95.9.
All right, let's end the show today on a bit of an up note, shall we? We always hear people saying, hey, you're trying too hard, or you got to try more, or try a little less. What is trying here? New book is called Stop Trying, the Life-Transforming Power, I like this, of trying less and doing more. Our next guest and the author has developed her no-try philosophy for 2 decades, researching, speaking, and promoting her message to business, organizations, women's groups, and college prep schools. She's reached a broad audience through motivational meetups, one-on-one meetings, and magazine writings. However, she is also the former VP of Creative Writer Development for EMI Music when it was the largest music publisher in the world. She's credited with the sales of millions of records worldwide. During a 20-year career, she placed hit songs with people like Barbra Streisand, Johnny Mathis, Cher, Huey Lewis, Martina McBride, Earth, Wind and Fire, Mariah Carey, NSYNC, and Christina Aguilera. We welcome to the Melissa in the Morning program here on WICC with Paul sitting in Carla Andrasik. Carla, good morning. How are you?
Good morning. What an intro that was.
Well, you know, Carla, I like doing that because just about every one of my guests has far better resumes than me, and you are in that category. So, Carla, how do you fit all that on a business card? I guess that's a little difficult, isn't it?
It sure is. I have to separate my life into decades.
Can I, before we get to your book, and I'm sure people heard that and they just were knocked over by that, what was it like working with those absolute superstars in music? Talk about that.
It was amazing. I mean, to get to just sometimes be in the recording studio and watch Johnny Mathis, you know, that voice that you think is not even real, you know, is there. And to meet little Christina Aguilera when no one knew who she was. She was this tiny little child, you know, with this incredible voice. And I live with an amazing artist who, I don't even know if it's on that resume, but I discovered and heard a voice through the wall and said, wow, that's a great voice, and signed this guy and developed him as a writer and got him a record deal. My husband of 28 years, John Andrasik. So I kind of still get to see the process of the artist's life, you know? It's really exciting.
Nice. Name of the book, Stop Trying, The Life-Transforming Power of Trying Less and Less. Now, that's dangerous for me because I'll just stay on the couch and try less and less. But honestly, what are your thoughts here? Because I think I know where you're going with this, but explain this to my audience.
Yeah, it's trying less and doing more doing. I am obsessed with, well, number one, I want everybody to win. I want everyone to see their dreams come true. That's what I do. I made songwriters' dreams come true. I discovered recording artists, my children. You know, I'm the behind-the-scenes person pulling all the strings, no matter what it is. I'm the president of my HOA, enacting change in the neighborhood. So at the heart of it all is I want everybody to win. And when you try, you are not doing, you're fooling yourself, you are thinking you're doing, you know, you're writing all the lists and you're talking about it. And in the dictionary, it's, you know, try is an attempt or an effort. It's what you said earlier, you know, try to do this, just give it a try, let's try it. We think that that's brave and that we're doing, but trying really, it's a half-hearted attempt or an effort. It's just thinking about and talking about. In fact, there is no action for trying. And it's either you're going to do this or you're not going to do it. And it's already in there, by the way. It's already, you know, you wouldn't put your money in a bank that says, we're going to try to keep track of your money and we'll try to have it available to you, would you? Yeah. So we already know trying isn't the best option. Yeah. But in our life, it's sad to me when people say, oh, I'm trying to quit smoking. I'm trying to have a better relationship with my brother. Or I'm trying to save my marriage. You know, we walk around just deluding ourselves, thinking that we're making efforts, but we're not. And that's what the book's all about.
So is trying, Carla, is that like self-medicating? Like, oh, poor baby, you're trying. And I've had that. It finally soaked into me years ago. Either do it or don't. I mean, don't sit there and medicate yourself. Is that what trying is or not?
I would say it's not medicating yourself. It's poisoning yourself.
Oh, okay.
Because when you sit around and say, I'm trying to do this, and you don't do it, that's where negative self-talk comes in. Oh, I'm weak. I'm lazy. It's never going to happen. And then what else happens? Regret. You know, It's one of the reasons I had to finally finish this book, because I knew this was my message. Nobody else was doing it. No one else has written the book or highlighted how dangerous this word is. And if I didn't do this and take the action and literally make it happen, I would regret it till the day I died. So I think we poison ourselves when we try. But to your point, yes, procrastination. We get to feel like we are maybe doing something in our head. We fool ourselves. So that's one way that we medicate. We kind of gloss over the fact that we're not really doing anything. We're just pretending.
Was there a moment, Carla, where maybe presently or back in your music career when you're doing something else, was there kind of a eureka moment was there an epiphany here like, yeah, the trying's got to stop. I either do it or not. Was there a moment like that specifically or not?
Yeah, there was. I am a gambler's daughter. My father grew up on Long Island, New York. He was a bad boy. He was I grew up literally at the racetrack and very little girl. And let me tell you, there were times, one of three sisters, where we were put in situations that there's no option to try. You're going to sink or swim here. You're going to figure out the situation and get out of it, or you are, you can go to the dark side, you can go to the light side, you cannot, So, yeah, I pretty much learned this behavior very young, and it's helped me.
Wow.
It's really helped me in every career that I've had, especially in a competitive world of music publishing. And I've just lived my whole life knowing that there's a huge difference, and I get to choose. I'm very conscious of it, and I'm going to choose. You can still try. You can still say, I'm going to half-heart this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'll try to show up. I'm going to try to do whatever it is. But for me, there's nothing that warrants that effort. Try to make a doctor's appointment. What does that mean? You're going to try to find a new, you're going to try to find a new doctor. You're going to try to figure out the best day to go. And if you don't do it, you could possibly miss a really life-saving diagnosis, right? So there's nothing worth trying.
Finally, I have to ask you, because I thought I heard you say it. Did you say you're the president of your HOA? Dear God, what is wrong with you? Oh, I'm kidding. Bless you for that. Come on. You could probably write a book on that alone.
I should. Oh. In fact, when I was finishing this book, I had begun a project for the HOA, something they'd been trying to do for 20 years. And I did it in a year. Like, I finished the book and the project was done. I don't know why I bring these things on. I just keep proving the point over and over. It is good fodder for writing, let me tell you.
Yeah, the author, Carla Ondrasik. Thank you so much. The book, pick it up, folks. Stop Trying, the life-transforming power of trying less and doing more. Carla, thank you. It's been fascinating. Good luck in the future, and hopefully we can chat again. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Anytime. Have a great day.
Appreciate it. Bye-bye. Carla Ondrasik, Ondrasik. Stop Trying, the life-transforming power of trying less and doing more. Here's a person who's doing projects for their homeowners association and, oh, by the way, work with some of the greatest recording artists of all time. What a life. All right, traffic and weather together right here, WICC.
WICC Smart MLS Right Now Traffic.
It is a great ride right now on the Connecticut Turnpike and also on the Merritt Parkway. Not seeing any problems at all to report, so that is good news this morning. Holiday traffic, so far so good on Route 8 and the 25A connector too. Fairfield County traffic every 10 minutes on WICC.
A wind advisory and coastal flood watch in effect through this evening. It'll be a rainy and windy day through early this afternoon with a high in the upper 50s to near 60. Rain ending after midnight with an overnight low in the mid 50s. It will be on the windy side. Tomorrow, a few scattered showers in the morning. Cloudy with a high in the mid 60s. Still a gusty breeze out of the north. I'm meteorologist Paul Piorek on WICC.
This winter's shaping up to be a harsh, snowy season. So take control of the roads with a new set of Bridgestone Blizzak tires from Town Fair Tire at the guaranteed lowest price. Plus, Town Fair gives you the most free services with your purchase of Bridgestone Blizzak tires. For the guaranteed best deal on Bridgestone Blizzak tires with the most free services for life, nobody beats Town Fair Tire. Nobody.
Name brands at discount prices. Town Fair Tire.
No part of your home is more important than the roof over your head. Hi, I'm Eddie Griffin, the owner of Brown Roofing, your local expert for roof replacement and roof repair. Water resistant, weather resistant, wind resistant, our products offer superior protection that come with a 50-year lifetime transferable warranty. Call us today at 475-445-1195 or visit us at brownroofing600.com. Brown won't let you down.
Are you getting what you need to stay independent at home? MyPlaceCT.org is Connecticut's hub for information to help older adults and people with disabilities learn about options for care and support. MyPlaceCT has resources for in-home care, home modifications, assistive technology, and more. Small supports really can add up to a big difference in life. See how at MyPlaceCT.org. That's MyPlaceCT.org.
Are you ready for some football? Tune in every Sunday to the Voice of Connecticut for nonstop NFL action. Catch 2 thrilling games at 1 p.m. and 4 p.m., plus a 30-minute pregame show at 12:30. We'll bring you the insights, team updates, and the latest league news. It's all brought to you by Duchess Restaurants, where fresh food is served fast. Don't miss a moment of the action. The NFL on the Voice of Connecticut every Sunday. Kick off your game day right.
When you switch to Progressive, you could save bundling your home and auto. Then you could put that money towards some of the surprisingly more expensive things in life.
May I help you? I just wanted to request a late checkout, please.
Of course. That's $30 per hour for up to 4 hours.
Huh. Okay, but if you can offer a late checkout, then that probably means no one is staying in that room. So if it's empty, maybe I can just stay a few extra hours.
Oh, aren't you adorable?
Life costs a lot, so bundle and you could save with Progressive. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Not available in all states.
You're listening to WICC 600 and 95.9, the Voice of Connecticut, broadcasting from the Town Fair Tire studios. Nobody beats Town Fair Tire.
Back to the news and talk. Thanks to Smart MLS. Smart sellers ask, is my home on Smart MLS? The Voice of Connecticut. WICC 695.9. It's Melissa in the morning.
And if you want to pick up that book or download it or whatever, the last name Carla Ondrasik, Ondrasik, Carla Ondrasik, Stop Trying, the life-transforming power of trying less and doing more. And she's right. And we've all had people in our lives, some of them, more valuable than others, that say, are you going to do it or not? And occasionally I have to, slam myself up against a wall figuratively. Not literally, saying, well, geez, do this. Or not. Don't say, well, She's right. But, man, what a life. Imagine that. Going into work. And, again, I mentioned this in the afternoon and here on the mornings, too. My son works in theater in New York and does some off-Broadway stuff, works on a lot of very big Broadway shows, and we're all agog at some of the people he works with. I mean, he's worked with A-listers like, Billy Crystal, Samuel L. Jackson, Nathan Lane, people like that. But I guess it's just work. I mean, after a while, he's like, yeah, Dan, it's work, whatever. So you heard our last guest, and she was working, I guess, on a daily basis with Cher and Huey Lewis in the News and Johnny Mathis and Barbara Streisand, Martina McBride, Earth, Wind, and Fire. Yeah, listen. In the end, it's just work. Now, some of the checks are bigger than others, and some of the jobs are, great. Some aren't, all they're cracked up to be. Some people are. That's why I do this. I mean, I almost can't put into work. Now, if it comes down to paying the bills and I would have to do something else, well, you do that with a self-reliance kicked in, the fight or flight thing. But there's some jobs like this one, like others in media, like, people do police work or being a physician. I really believe that you're put on earth to do something. And it usually clicks, and there's internal programming here or internal, whether it's, in our coding of what we want to do. And people say, well, how'd you get into radio? And you say, well, I was always fascinated by the radio. Like, where are those people? Mom, where are those people coming from? Are there little people inside the radio? No, Paul, they're not. I have a friend actually in this business who, when we used to work together about 20 years ago or so, some of you may remember, he would always use a phrase that I think a lot of us, no matter what we do in life, as a profession, kind of have to sit back and understand this, in that a lot of people love what they do, the actual doing of what they do every day, but they may not like their job. And he's the same guy that he used to tell me, we have hundreds of acquaintances. We have very few friends, right? We tend to overuse the word love. Oh, I love that bread. Well, you love your wife or your husband too. What's more important? Well, bread, But we overuse the word love. We overuse the word, the word friend. Right? We have hundreds of acquaintances. We probably can count our friends on one hand or maybe two and still have enough fingers to scratch an itch, as they say. And as our guests just say, trying. We overuse the word trying. Well, trying doesn't mean anything, and she's right. You're either doing it or not. Now, you could say, I am, even if you're in the process of, hey, I'm finally painting that room downstairs. Really? You try? No, look, the drop cloths are down, and I put all the painter's tape up there, whatever. So there's that. All right. 203-333-9422, 333-WICC. Talk or text. Always remember that their number is the same number, talk or text. If you want to text us something, and by the way, and it comes in handy because a lot of times you may hear something on the program here that I talk about, that Lisa talks about, that Melissa talks about, and again, you're like, I want to tell you something maybe on the inside, but I can't do it on the radio, so send me a text. I got a few of those last week, too. Interesting things regarding the latest chapter in All Things Bridgeport, which apparently concerns a certain person whose name has been prominent in the news still, allegedly, and again, from what I understand, from what I've been told, wink, wink, nod, nod, the investigation into alleged, shall we say, sham marriages in the city of Bridgeport. Allegedly, let's be nice, the investigation is still going on, and it may I've just been told, it may be reaching out to other town and or city halls. So keep an eye on that, and if there's anything you'd like to let me know about that, text me at 203-333-9422, and the email is always up there, too. Paul, P-A-U-L, Paul at voiceofct.com. All right. Let's see. I see a couple of texts there. All right. Well, we'll actually leave that for my show tomorrow. All right. Let's do that. But again, a happy Columbus Day to all who celebrate today. Again, a day of Italian pride. Debated in many circles, far and wide. And the great part about whether it's Columbus Day or Indigenous Peoples Day or you're researching this or that, there is no excuse for you or anyone else not to take the time and say, man, let me do a little reading about this. Well, this guy said that, but that woman said that, so who agrees with him and who agrees with her, right? Easy stuff to do. Well, hasn't this been fun? Occasionally, they let me play on the morning show. Melissa back tomorrow. She's out again on Friday. I'm back tomorrow at 2, assuming my door card works and my parking space is still there, both of which I think are more likely than not. Eric, the producer, thank you. Norm on traffic, John on the news, and Paul Piork on the weather forecast. Folks, another windy day, rainy day. Be careful. The world-famous Lisa Wexler, she is in the big chair next.
I'm still going for it, even with higher stroke risk from atrial fibrillation, an irregular heartbeat not caused by a heart valve problem. Over a 3-year study, Eliquis apixaban tablets reduced stroke risk better than warfarin, and over 97% of Eliquis patients did not experience a stroke. A first stroke occurred in 2.9% of warfarin patients versus 2.3% of Eliquis patients.
Don't stop prescription Eliquis without asking your doctor. Stroke risk may increase. Eliquis can cause serious and potentially fatal bleeding. Don't take if you have an artificial heart valve, abnormal bleeding, or antiphospholipid syndrome. While taking, you may bruise more easily or bleed longer. A spinal injection increases blood clot risk, which may cause paralysis. Get medical help right away for unexpected bleeding or bruising, or back pain, tingling, numbness, muscle weakness, or incontinence. Aspirin products, NSAIDs, SSRIs, SNRIs, and blood thinners increase bleeding risk. Tell your doctor about planned medical or dental procedures. Learn more at Eliquis.com or call 1-855-ELIQUIS.
WICC Bridgeport, WFOX Southport, WEBE HD2 Westport, WPLR HD2 New Haven, locally owned by Connoisseur Media.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by Progressive Insurance.
I'm Deborah Rodriguez. 20 living hostages were returned to Israel this morning. Hamas has announced the names of 4 of the 28 who died in captivity that will be released later today. Israel says almost 2,000 Palestinian prisoners were released and transported back to Gaza. President Trump is headed to a summit in Egypt after a more than hour-long speech to the Israeli Knesset. CBS's Stacey Lynn.
This is the historic dawn of a new Middle East.
The president expressed his gratitude to the prime minister,
whose partnership did so much to make this momentous day possible.
And his message was clear. The war is over.
Israel, with our help, has won all that they can by force of arms. You've won.
He said the state of Israel is now strong.
And it will live and thrive forever.
Celebrations are underway. Linda Gradstein reports from Jerusalem.
Families held emotional reunions with the freed hostages who were held in Hamas captivity for 2 long years. All over Israel, people celebrated, especially at Hostage Square in Tel Aviv, where a crowd of tens of thousands cheered every time the photo of a freed hostage appeared on the screen.
In the West Bank, Palestinians rejoiced as buses arrived carrying those prisoners from Israel's Ofer, and giant crowds greeted the newly freed arriving at Nasser Hospital in southern Gaza's Khan Yunis. Here in the U.S., it's day 13 of the government shutdown. CBS's Bradley Blackburn says some federal workers are getting paid.
For now, the Pentagon is still paying service members, bridging the gap by using $8 billion in unused research funds to cover this week's paychecks. Air traffic controllers will get their first partial paycheck this week, and then nothing if the shutdown continues.
A powerful storm is slamming the East Coast. Rain and wind is intense from mid-Atlantic states on up into the Northeast. Lewis, Delaware Deputy City Manager Janet Reeves.
They are expecting major coastal flooding. There's a good possibility of evacuation, so we want to make sure that we're prepared for that.
States of emergency in effect in New York and New Jersey. A helicopter came crashing down to the ground near a hotel in Huntington Beach, California over the weekend. CBS's Andres Gutierrez.
The palm trees prevented a direct collision between the helicopter and a pedestrian bridge connecting the hotel and the Pacific Coast Highway.
I thought that thing was going to land. I didn't even have a chance to look up. I was dodging through the parking lot.
5 people hurt, including a child who was pinned underneath the chopper. Bystanders raced to the wreckage to free him. Dow up 486. This is CBS News.
Sponsored by Progressive. See why over 43 million drivers trust Progressive to stay protected on the road. See for yourself at Progressive.com.
Do you have 3 ex-wives and your current trophy wife wants a life insurance policy 3 times the size of the policies you had to purchase for your previous mistakes? If so, you need to call Big Lou at Term Provider, 800-230-2777. Big Lou is intimately familiar with your problems, and if you're 50 or 60 years old and in reasonably good health, a $1 million policy should only cost about $100 to $200 per month. Big Lou may have a solution for your previous policies as well. You may even save enough money to lighten the load on your new $1 million policy. Remember, call Big Lou. He's like you, except he's only on number 2. Call Term Provider at 800-230-2777. That's 800-230-2777 for $1 million in term life insurance that you can live with. Call Big Lou at 800-230-2777. 800-230-2777.
WICC 695.9, Voice of Connecticut Local News Update.
This update is brought to you by MJ Thomas Jewelers. Looking to buy or sell gold? Visit MJ Thomas Jewelers in Stratford for expert service and great deals. Their knowledgeable staff is there to assist with all your gold needs. For more information, visit mjthomas.com. The powerful nor'easter that impacted Connecticut yesterday brought heavy rains and damaging winds. The southeastern part of the state was impacted the hardest, with around 1,000 widely scattered power outages reported. Those outages could continue to pop up today as the breezy conditions are expected to continue. There have also been some concerns raised about possible coastal flooding today along the shoreline. Congresswoman Rosa DeLauro is calling on Republicans to negotiate with her and other Democrats to end the ongoing government shutdown. DeLauro says the lack of discussions between the sides is upsetting. She says that both sides will need to have the political will to get this done, but House Republicans have recessed and have not scheduled a return to Washington. She went on to say that Democrats will not agree to any deal that does not protect health insurance subsidies. For the Voice of Connecticut, WICC, I'm John Kamal.
WICC 695.9, the Voice of Connecticut weather update.
A wind advisory and coastal flood watch in effect through this evening. It'll be a rainy and windy day through early this afternoon with a high in the upper 50s to near 60. Rain ending after midnight with an overnight low in the mid 50s. It will be on the windy side. Tomorrow, a few scattered showers in the morning. Cloudy with a high in the mid 60s. Still a gusty breeze out of the north. I'm meteorologist Paul Piorek on WICC.
It's time for stimulating talk. Time for thought-provoking conversation. Time for the Lisa Wexler Show. Turn on your brain and get the real scoop on today's topics and events. Here is Lisa Wexler.
You know, a great deal is a deal where everybody's happy. In every country, they're dancing in the streets. That's a great deal. It's a unique period in time.
Donald Trump getting an unbelievable hero's welcome in Israel. Speaking in the Knesset this morning, I watched his almost hour-long speech. I don't know if you did. Hello and welcome. It's October 13th. It's a great day. It's always a great day for us on October 13th. It's my mom's birthday. She's 91 today. She made it. And although she's still in the hospital, we hope that she's going to rehab today. Onward, out. And it's Shayna's birthday, our little doggy. It was Sugar's birthday. The 13th has always been a very lucky number in our family. And worldwide, we can say that it's a blessed, beautiful day for the Jewish people because 20 hostages that were taken from Israel on October 7th of 2023, the last remaining living hostages, it is believed, came home. And if you're on Instagram, if you're on a social media feed of any kind, you may have seen these extraordinary embraces, this cheering, this happiness, these hugging. Most of the hostages are filmed from the back. In other words, it was difficult to glimpse how the hostages are looking from the front, which I'm sure was on purpose. Many of the hostages, after meeting with their loved ones, are now being completely evaluated in every kind of medical way. 203-333-9422, Linda Gradstein, CBS reporter, calling us from Israel, or we're calling her in the next few minutes, so stay tuned. We're going to hear from her in Israel. She's one of our most reliable CBS reporters. She's based there in Jerusalem. And I want to hear from her the thoughts that she has reporting from the ground. It's obviously a very big story. It is a unique moment in time. It's a wonderful moment in time. It's a time of optimism and hope. Jared Kushner and Ivanka Trump stood there in the Knesset. Steve Witkoff was there. Also singled out was Miriam Adelson. Miriam Adelson is the widow of Sheldon Adelson. They were married 30 years. They have 2 sons together. She has 2 children from a prior marriage. And collectively, I think they were worth, and now she's worth over $40 billion or something like that. I say this because Donald Trump continually refers to how much money people have as a measure of their importance in the world and their access to power and influence. And she and her husband gave over $100 million to the Trump campaign and have been tremendously consistent supporters. They also funded Trump's personal defense of the Russia conspiracy charges. Miriam Adelson is a physician. She's Israeli. She was born in 1945 in Israel to Polish parents who escaped before the Holocaust. She has a very real sense of Jewish history, modern Jewish history, and Israeli pride. She's a brilliant, brilliant doctor. In fact, she was a fellow at Rockefeller University, which is an only post-grad program. She herself had a brilliant medical career, and she puts her money where she believes it to belong. She was actually somebody who founded many methadone clinics in this country. She also started a medical school on the West Bank. And she founds all kinds of, philanthropic activities. She's a professional philanthropist with that kind of money. Sheldon Adelson made his money, I believe, in Vegas and gambling. And the two of them, and also in sports, she bought the Mavericks from Mark, what's his name? From Mark, who owned the Mavericks? The Dallas Mavericks. Mark Cuban, thank you. And she also owns a Las Vegas team. She owns a lot of different sports teams. Anyway, she's very rich. But the bottom line is she was singled out by President Trump today as being an important force for him in reminding him and cajoling him and keeping this top. And many people thought that nobody could force the hostages to come home in a 2-week period of time. What we're hearing background, what I'm reading background, is that Turkey and Qatar put the pressure on Hamas that if they didn't do this one peace deal, they were going to lose the support of these 2 very important, rich Muslim nations in the region. Now, why they made that deal, I don't know about Turkey, but can I tell you what Qatar got out of it? Qatar is now going to be, we are now going to be training Qatari Air Force pilots on a military base in Idaho. The only other foreign people we train are Singaporean, who, as far as I know, have never been involved in any conflict. But President Trump agreed to use U.S. military resources to train Qatari pilots to fight or to be able to operate military jets, F-15 jets. And the base is in a mountain region of Idaho. And you can look that up. So Qatar got its quid pro quo that's just one of the ones we know about, in exchange for putting the pressure on Hamas. I don't know what the carrot was for, or the stick, frankly, was for Turkey, but it was due to collective Arab pressure, and that needs to be understood and not underestimated. That caused, along with Israel's military might, which was supported 100% without any ambivalence by the United States of America. And the United States of America has been ambivalent in its military support of Israel ever since President Obama took office. That's just a fact. There's been a seesaw. There's been a whiplash, much like Columbus Day. Hello and welcome to Columbus Day. Columbus Day is the day that it was called since I grew up. But in 2021, the Biden administration called it Indigenous Peoples Day. Why? Because Christopher Columbus actually never set foot in what we know as the United States of America. And while he was a great explorer, a superb navigator who explored and conquered many lands for Spain, the country that he flew from, he was born in Genoa, Italy. He was claimed by the Italian-American people as a great hero because America, for over 100 years, celebrated the the bringing, the promotion, the existence of Western culture and European culture in America. And then in the last 10 or so years, there was a re-examining of that. There was some people call it a revisionist history, but there was a new look at what that really meant and the pain that it caused the indigenous people that were already here. And so with sympathy toward indigenous people who suffered when Western culture came here, in 2021, the federal government changed the name of Columbus Day to the Indigenous Peoples Day. And what ensued after that was a sacking and ransacking and destruction of many monuments to Christopher Columbus that occurred all over the country, including in our great state of Connecticut in Worcester Square, where there has been a vibrant, beautiful, amazingly fabulous Italian population for so many generations. And all of a sudden, the Christopher Columbus statue in their midst was promptly taken away, where it now resides in a museum all by itself. Now we've got Donald Trump. And Donald Trump said to his cabinet last week, Columbus Day, we're back Italians. That's a quote. And that's because he is now switching the name once again, just like a whiplash, a whipsaw. We are now back to being called Columbus Day. Columbus Day is a federal holiday, but it's a bit of a peculiar one. The stock market is open, but the bond market is closed. There will be no mail today, and most banks are closed. Typically, federal offices are closed, but due to the government shutdown, that may not matter much anyway because a lot of federal governments are closed. Our court, probate court in Westport, which I preside over, is open, but many courts are closed. And here we are live with you on the radio. Hello, hello, and welcome. This is the Lisa Wexler Show on WICC. But there are many other federal holidays where we take a day off. And schools are generally speaking closed, but for some schools, this is a floating holiday and they are open. So it's one of these sort of strange federal holidays. I call it a federal holiday-ish. But it also, because of the name of it, I think forces us to examine who we are. What do we stand for? Do we stand for celebrating? Forget about Columbus as a human and as an explorer. Do we stand for celebrating the bringing of Western culture and Western values here? It was a violent, takeover. There's no question about it. It was a takeover that was accompanied by disease, by putting fences on land that never had fences before, by the corralling of the Native American people onto reservations where they languished for generations. Many became addicted to alcohol and suffered from depression because they didn't feel that they had a stake in their own future and that their own culture and tribes were being wiped off the face of the mat, if not